is right. I think the Colts now become sort of the leader in the clubhouse, if you will, as far as the AFC goes. But we have not seen him play at all. And I guarantee you, because Jeff Saturday, the center, is hurt, they are going to attack Peyton Manning hard today. This is going to be set up perfectly for this Bears defense to come after him.
And we are about to see it, because from here we are out of time. They're about set to christen Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis. Week 1 of NBC's Sunday Night Football. Peyton Manning and the Colts haven't lost a football game played in September since 2004. Brian Urlacher and the Bears trying to change that. A reminder, you can find enhanced coverage of the game with live video and control of camera angles on NBCSports.com and NFL.com with Sunday Night Football Extra. Al and John will have the call right after Faith Hill makes her own season debut. That's after this, and we'll see you at halftime.
This is
Store at the RCA Dome. The Indianapolis Colts are in their new digs, Lucas Oil Stadium, as they come out onto the field, ready to take on Brian Urlacher and the Chicago Bears on the season debut of NBC's Sunday Night Football. Al Michaels with John Madden, Andrea Kramer. Welcome to Indianapolis. These two teams met in Super Bowl 41 2 years ago. Colts won the game 29-17. Then last year, the Bears slumped, finished 7-9, finished last in the NFC North. And the big story in their training camp this year is that Rex Grossman is back on the bench and Kyle Orton has ascended to the starting quarterback spot. In Indianapolis, it's also been about the quarterback in training camp. A different story, though. Peyton Manning underwent surgery to remove an infected bursa sac in his left knee in the middle of July. Didn't play a snap in preseason. Didn't even practice until the end of August. And John, he says that this is uncharted territory for him. It certainly is. He hasn't been here before. So what do you expect from Peyton tonight?
I think he's going to be a little rusty. And in talking to him yesterday, he seemed to be concerned about the pocket. You know, you can practice other things, but you can't practice taking live shots in the pocket. So I think he'll be rusty. I think he'll be a little uncomfortable early. I think they'll be conservative. And then just knowing Peyton Manning, I believe that within this game, he will get into a groove.
And the Bears, of course, can pressure him up the middle. The Bears are very aggressive, and through the years in Chicago, it's been their history. They win with defense, they win with a running game, but their fans are very nervous because of last year and the way they looked this year. Are those units good enough for this team to contend this season?
Well, if they're going to be a contender, that's what they have to do. I mean, that's the way we know the Chicago Bears. You know, great aggressive defense that, you know, gets takeaways, a good running game, play action pass, don't make stupid mistakes, and then let Devin Hester make some big plays for you in the kicking game. That's what they are. And if they're going to be a contender, they have to have those three things going.
Yeah, Hester could certainly. John, she finished 10th today in the Peak Indy 300 outside Chicago. Should have taken the bus up there.
Right. Did you see the cruiser take that turn one?
At about what?
No.
70 miles an hour?
No, that was about 170.
I hope not.
He took that thing into the turn the way you're supposed to take it into the turn.
She's a big football fan, said she'll watch the game after the race today. So we welcome Danica and all of you to Sunday Night Football. Robbie Gould to kick off for Chicago. Courtney Roby will be running back the kick. Roby is an Indianapolis native who went to Indiana U in Bloomington. And he will run back the opening kickoff at Lucas Oil Stadium, where they have played 2 preseason games. But this breaks the seal for the real stuff. Marvin Harrison ready to get onto the field. Harrison missing 11 games with an injured knee last year, but he is healthy again. We'll all be watching very closely Peyton Manning. And the Indianapolis Colts favored to get off to a 1-0 start tonight as the ball is in the air, and it's a low line drive. One hopper that's recovered at the 12-yard line by Roby, who brings it out past the 20 and is taken down up at the 30-yard line. Tackle made by Darryl McClover. And here comes Manning now. Only Brett Favre has started more games. Brett, a winner today in his Jets debut against Miami. 161 consecutive starts. He started the first game in his rookie season. The #1 draft choice overall in '98, has not missed a game, has not missed a start, so number 161 tonight, but his first action of the season, not a single preseason snap.
It'll be interesting to see if this is a play-action pass. Tony Dungy has a charity. The people that gave some money to the charity came and he let them call this first play, and they called a play-action pass. I think Peyton Manning just audibled out of it.
Takes the snap out of the shotgun, faces the inside give, and then the pass is incomplete as the intended receiver was Gian Robinson. Again, the Colts, through the years, especially since Manning has come aboard, Tom Moore, the offensive coordinator, go no huddle. And there is Tom Moore, the offensive coordinator in his late 60s, and as he says, he doesn't call the plays, he just sends in concepts.
Well, with Peyton Manning in his 11th year and the way he works and studies and knows football and knows his personnel, he can be really the coach out on the field.
2nd down and 10. He's working with a new center, Jeff Saturday, with a sprained MCL. Will be out for a few weeks. So you've got Jamie Richards snapping it. And here's a Dye's first carry of the season to the 35-yard line. Let's take a look at the Colts starting offense.
Peyton Manning, University of Tennessee.
Joseph Adai, Louisiana State.
Marvin Harrison, Syracuse. Reggie Wayne, the U.
Dallas Clark, University of Iowa.
John Robinson, Missouri Western State University.
Tony Hugo, Arkansas.
Charlie Johnson, Oklahoma State. Jamie Richard, Buffalo.
Dan Faderkyle, University of Calgary.
Ryan Deem, Northern Illinois University.
And a momentary injury timeout. Lance Briggs went down. So that's why we have the clock stoppage. Jamar Williams will come in at outside linebacker. Briggs, one of the best in the league. There was a question as to whether they'd be able to re-sign him, and they have. So they're all set in terms of that. But right now, Briggs will need some attention on the bench. 3rd and 6. They bring Gonzalez into the game as the 3rd wide receiver. He's to the bottom of the screen. They've got Wayne in the slot and Harrison outside to the right with Manning in the shotgun.
We're going to see right here how comfortable Peyton is in the pocket.
Backs up, steps up, fires to the left side. That looks pretty good. Anthony Gonzalez makes the catch. So he felt the pressure, was able to step up. Looked like the same old Peyton on that one.
They're right, and the answer was pretty comfortable. You know, and that's what he had to do because, you know, the Bears know that, you know, he's going to have a problem, that he hasn't had any live games, so they're going to blitz him, and they're going to blitz him straight up the middle, try and pressure him up there, and he gets out of it, gets his feet in the proper position to be able to throw that ball for a first down.
Stepped away from the safety blitz from Kevin Payne that time. Now from the 44. Toss back to Adai, who cuts it back inside, but then gets whacked by Ogunleya. Let's take a look at the Chicago starting defense.
Adewale Ogunleya, Indiana.
Tommy Harris, University of Oklahoma.
Dusty Dvorak, Oklahoma.
Alex Brown, University of Florida.
Lance Briggs,
Desert Swarm, Arizona. Brian Urlacher, University of New Mexico.
Hunter Hillenmeyer, Vanderbilt.
Charles Tillman, the University of Louisiana.
Mike Brown, Nebraska.
Kevin Payne, Louisiana Monroe.
Nate Vasher, Texas.
Briggs missed 2 plays, and he's back in the game on 2nd down and 13 now after a loss of 3 from the 41-yard line.
And the Bears defense is up there in the line of scrimmage faking blitz all the time.
4-man rush. Manning has that one deflected at the line of scrimmage. That one was deflected by Israel Adonijah, number 71, who rotates in at defensive tackle.
See, here's what he sees is that double A gap blitz. You get both the linebackers up in here, and he's got, so now you have to call protection to take care of those guys. So they can either come in that position, or like this play, they drop out into pass defense. So you have to call a protection that will take care of them. Then when they drop out, you're left with less receivers.
Adonijah was doubled on that play and still got a hand up. 3rd down and 13. Showing blitz again. Here they come. The blitz is picked up, and the pass is there, but incomplete. Gonzalez had it, couldn't hold on. Nathan Vasher with the coverage, but he'd gotten behind him, and Mike Brown, number 30, with the safety blitz that was picked up nicely.
And see, we showed the play before where they're standing up there in those double A gaps, and they dropped out. They didn't come in a blitz. That time, Urlacher dropped out, and they brought the safety on an overload to their right side.
And now you've got Devin Hester. In 2 years, he's already established himself as one of the greatest of all time returning punts and kickoffs. It figures to be a high floating kick, It is. It's a little bit deeper than I think Dungy would have liked. Here's Hester with a chance to run it back from the 8-yard line. Hester already to the 20. And Hester does get tripped up at the 32. Dungy told us yesterday that he would have his punter, Smith, kick them high and short. That was high and long, and that's what Hester could do. 25-yard run back. Low fares, no hidden fees by Sprint. Get NFL Mobile Live only on the Now Network. By the entirely new Audi A4 Progress is beautiful, and by Bud Light Lime, the drinkability of Bud Light with 100% natural lime flavor. The Colts in love with their locker room, about 3 times the size of the old one, Lucas Oil Field in downtown Indianapolis, just across the lot from the RCA Dome. Now the Bears, their first offensive play of the season. Kyle Orton is the quarterback, and the rookie Matt Forte is the running back, and there is a flag down. The whistles, I think, stopped the play before the play, which is a break for Chicago here. The referee is John Parry. False start, illegal snap on the center, number 57, 5-yard penalty. First down. That's the Pro Bowler, Olin Kreutz.
You know, sometimes they double clutch it. They start to get, he did double clutch it. He started to snap it, realized that wasn't a snap count, tried to hold it, and then brought it again. That was all on the center, Olin Kreutz.
That's an ominous beginning to the season. Hester is wide to the right. They hand the ball off to the rookie out of Tulane, Forte, and he takes it up to the 29-yard line. Let's take a look at that Chicago offense.
Kyle Orton, Purdue.
Matt Forte, Tulane University.
Jason McKee, Temple.
Rasheed Davis, West Los Angeles College.
Brandon Lloyd, Illinois. Des Clark, Kathleen High School. John St. Clair, Virginia. Josh Beekman, Boston College. Olin Kreutz, Washington.
Roberto Garza, Texas A&M Kingsville.
John Tate, Brigham Young.
Tate moves from left tackle to right tackle. St. Clair goes from right tackle to left tackle. Second down and 14 on a draw. This is Forte, and he's taking the spot occupied by Cedric Benson. Remember, they spent that 4th overall pick on Benson. Benson and Jones shared time a couple of years ago. They let Jones go. He went to New York, had a pretty good day today. In their win, Benson didn't cut it, and he got cut. And now it falls to the rookie Forte, 6'2", 216 pounds.
And they all like him. He has quick feet as a runner, and he's very good in the passing game, not only as a receiver, but as a pass protector.
And he stays in. He's an every down back. He's in on 3rd down. He stays in to block. He helps out, and then Orton has that one deflected and incomplete. Dwight Freeney coming around the corner. Freeney missed the last half of last season with a foot injury, a Lisfranc injury. Took him a long time to recover. Played very sparingly in preseason. Puts the pressure on here.
Yeah, that's the matchup that they're worrying about right there. John St. Clair against Dwight Freeney. They were trying to help him out with Matt Forte, but Freeney just kind of ran right by and right through both of them. Freeney, one of the great pass rushers in the league.
Veteran punter is Brad Maynard. He is in his 12th season. It's a high and very short kick, and Ratliff will let it bounce, and it stays in bounds for a few more yards. He got a nice break on that one because that could have been about a 30-yard kick, and instead it bounces all the way down to the 19 for a 45-yard kick. Manning coming out for a second series.
Summer and fall, they're not that different.
Colts center sprained MCL. He'll be out about 6 weeks in his 10th year. This is Jamie Richard, played at the University of Buffalo. 7th round pick, and here he is on opening night snapping the ball to Peyton Manning.
Right, and that's where the Bears are really going to rush tonight.
Now Joseph Adai will take the ball up to the 24-yard line. Gain of 4. And John, not only do they have the center, but you have a couple of guards in Johnson and Federkyle. Tony Hugo, of course, did a nice job last year taking over for the retired Tarek Glenn, but a lot of things to watch up front among those three.
Those three, and that's when we were talking to the Bears last night defensively. You know, you attack pass protections on passing downs, and that's the area. Those 3 guys are the area that they want to attack.
2nd and 6. Manning to the outside, and that pass is caught. Inbounds by Marvin Harrison. Harrison with a knee injury, and the crowd salutes Marvin Harrison because it was pretty much of a wasted season last year. He got healthy for the playoffs, healthy enough to play against San Diego, but that day he caught only 2 balls against the Chargers, and one of the receptions resulted in a very costly fumble.
Yeah, and just seeing Marvin Harrison yesterday, he's a different guy this year. I mean, he has a sparkle in the eye, and he has a speed and quickness back, and I would expect that Marvin Harrison is going to have a big year for the Colts.
Fake to a dime. Manning moving out of the pocket, looking nimble, and that pass is caught at midfield by Marvin Harrison. Well, Peyton Manning was telling us yesterday, he said, watch out for him. He said when Marvin gets angry, he gets fast.
Right. And Peyton Manning is looking for him, too. The play before it was a cover 1 or man coverage. Here he's coming out in a bootleg. It's against cover 2. You see the corner come up, and the safety comes over, and he's going to get in between them. The thing that Peyton Manning was worried about, Al, was his footwork. You know, is he going to be able to get his feet in position to throw the ball? That's the first thing that always has to happen, and it looks so far that those feet are getting in the right position.
That's the 900th reception by Harrison from Manning in his career. Speaking about Harrison and being angry, I said to Peyton, I said, so what is he angry about? Well, he's 36 years old, is Harrison. That's old for a receiver. And there are a lot of people, a lot of skeptics, a lot of people in the media who doubt that he can be what he once was. So that makes him angry, and after that it makes him fast.
Right. He says he has a chip, and you know, because some people say that, you know, he's not going to be able to come back, and he's through, and he can't be what he used to. And you know, when you say that to Marvin Harrison or about Marvin Harrison, you're going to find out what he really is.
He's the second oldest receiver in the league. Only Joey Galloway is older by a couple of months. There's a fake inside handoff, and a guy stays in the block, but Manning has to backpedal and throw, and the pass is incomplete, and the crowd looks for a flag, and they get none as Brandon McGowan got there right at the same instant as the ball. And then Urlacher and Manning share some pleasantries.
Well, Brian Urlacher, he got there at the same time that Peyton Manning got rid of the ball, or maybe just a half a step later. See him, he goes to roll to the right, and it looks like Brian Urlacher hits him just after the ball comes out. Oh, I don't know. That's a little ticky-tacky. I mean, I could see if a guy's going for him or going to hurt him. He was just getting his hands up there, Urlacher was. I don't know that I would really call that roughing.
I wouldn't have called that. I thought it was closer to being a penalty for interference than it was for Urlacher roughing the passer.
Yeah, I mean, I know they're trying to protect the quarterbacks, and they should, but that wasn't a protect the quarterback call.
From the 32 now after the penalty. Manning to the left side this time, and this is Gonzalez. He's able to make the catch. Last year's #1 draft choice, second year out of Ohio State. Both feet in with 8 minutes to go in the first quarter, and another first down for the Colts.
And Gonzalez is out here on the left side. This is 3 wide receivers. The corners, the safeties are playing him to the inside. He just drives them up the field and then breaks to the outside. See, Vasher was looking for an inside cut or something coming to the inside. Gonzalez ran an out.
Colts have driven 60 yards in 5 plays. Manning stepping to his left, throwing, and that pass is incomplete. Gonzalez out of bounds, again covered by Vasher, so Peyton comes back the same way, and Manning has started the night 4 of his first 8 for 49 yards.
And we talked how they were going to attack the pocket. They were going to get, blitz straight up the middle, try and get Peyton Manning off his spot, attack those 3 middle offensive linemen. They've been doing those things, but Peyton Manning has still been able to elude it, get away, and make throws.
Second and 10. Toss. A dive. Inside the 15. It'll be first down and goal. And one thing that's a little different tonight, the Colts love to run that stretch play where Manning reaches out and stretches out for the handoff. Because of the leg, they're going to throw more tosses tonight as they do there.
Right, it's the same play. It's a stretch play, but instead of Peyton Manning coming down the line, stretching, and getting that handoff to the outside, he's just pitching it. That's the third time that they've done it so far. But how about that move of Joseph Adai there?
On Vasher.
I'll tell you, he is turning into something special. And if the Colts can get that running game, to go with Peyton Manning in the passing game, sometimes they're darn near unstoppable.
Dominic Rhodes is in the backfield on first and goal, and Peyton will take a timeout. 6:46 left in the opening quarter. No score, but Indy threatening. The screen will look like that. Sunday Night Football Extra. You get the game, replay stats, even choose your own camera angles on Sunday Night Football Extra. A timeout taken by the Colts. Manning now will lead them up to the line of scrimmage. First and goal with 6:46 left, and he's scoreless first quarter. And Joseph Adai is back in the game after he had gone to the bench before the timeout, and they had Rhodes in for the moment.
He's checking those linebackers up there in the line of scrimmage, changing the play.
Here's Adai, and he'll be stopped for a 5-yard loss. That's Tommy Harris, big Tommy Harris, number 91. Hurt part of last year, but he's made 3 straight Pro Bowls. Number 1 pick out of Oklahoma in 04.
I tell you, and if he is healthy, or if he can get back the way he was a couple years ago, I thought he was one of the most devastating defensive linemen in football.
He and Urlacher, the cores of that defense. They have Mike Brown back as well this year. He's been oft injured through the years, the safety.
Lance Briggs.
New contract. Second down and goal. Ball at the 11. Manning, good protection, then fires, and that pass is knocked down by Alex Brown, number 96, the defensive right end, and that'll make it third down and goal.
See, the Bears are doing some tough things here. We talk about getting those linebackers up in there, then they run the linebackers out, then they stunt the defensive linemen. Alex Brown is coming around in a stunt, and look what he finds. But they are doing everything they can, this Bear defense, to foul up the pass protections of the Colts.
Manning that time looking for Reggie Wayne, who caught 104 balls last year. He hasn't caught one tonight. They split a die out to the left, empty the backfield here on third down and goal. And another timeout, the second one taken by the Colts on this drive. Christian Slater stars in My Own Worst Enemy, premieres Monday, October 13th. Look at a wild-looking structure, retractable roof. Obviously, the roof open tonight, and once it's open, and they have to declare 90 minutes before the game, it stays open. Third down and goal.
This is the area that they usually look for Dallas Clark down here.
That's Gonzalez coming out of the slot, and that one is stopped before the whistle. Mini slugfest ensues.
False start. Number 71 offense, 5-yard penalty. Third down.
That's Ryan Deem. So the Colts, after driving down to the 7-yard line, have taken 2 timeouts, and now will have a third down and goal as they get pushed all the way back to the 16-yard line.
I think they still look for Dallas Clark down here, even though I circled Gonzalez. I meant Dallas Clark. I think that, the closer they get to the goal line, the more they look for their tight end, and he's either comes out as a tight end or as a slot. Here he's a tight end on this play. They have it's a 3-by-1. He's a tight end here, 2 wide receivers out here, and a 1 back on this side.
And Gonzalez at the bottom. Harrison and Wayne to the top. And another whistle.
Delay game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Third down.
Now I think we get Dallas Ward out of the equation, and now it becomes in a passing situation either Reggie Wayne or Marvin Harrison. We get Dallas Clark out of the equation.
A very un-Colt-like end to this drive. which was moving down the field with such efficiency. From the 7, they've gone back to the 21. A couple of penalties, 2 timeouts, and it's 3rd down and goal. Clark is in the backfield. Bears rush 4. Manning steps up, swings it to the outside, and that's dropped by Gonzalez. So it looked like the Colts were going to move in for the initial touchdown in this new facility. Instead, Adam Vinatieri has to come out, and they're going to settle for a field goal of about 39 yards.
Well, you know, there's something there maybe that, you know, in fairness, I didn't feel that 15-yard penalty that they called on Brian Urlacher was right. And, you know, and that was a big play, you know, a big thing getting down there. That added 15 yards to them, and maybe the Bears got it back. I mean, the Bears did play very good defense in that red zone.
The gods heard you.
Well, that's the point I was trying to make.
39-yarder by Vinatieri is good. So those are the first official points scored in new Lucas Oil Stadium. Off the foot of Vinatieri, 3-0 Colts.
Back to the Luke, as we will call Lucas Oil Stadium. Well, the signature feature of this new stadium is the retractable roof, and I got a quick primer on how it works. 90 minutes before kickoff, the Colts must decide if they want the roof open or closed. Well, up in stadium control, the roof's movement is regulated by a computer. And for security reasons, the roof operator keeps his finger in this sensor the entire time the roof is moving. Opening or closing takes about 10 minutes. Now, once the roof is opened, only the game referee can decide to close it. But he must do so if there is bad weather, because there is no drainage on this field.
And Andrea, tonight, as we look at the forecast, there is no prospect of bad weather, so it should stay open. They also have what they call a bay window here in one of the end zones, as this kick will be kicked away from Hester and fielded up at the 30-yard line by Garrett Wolf, who takes it to the 43. So even though it wasn't Hester who runs it back, because of Hester, the Bears are going to get good field position. Little time-lapse photography and on the roof, and as Andrea said, 10 or 11 minutes to open it up. And unlike all of the other retractable roof stadiums that I can think of that open up end zone to end zone, this one opens up sideline to sideline. They opened it up about an hour and a half before the game. Very pleasant night in Indianapolis. Cloudless sky. Temperature at game time was 74 degrees. From the 46-yard line, Forte for a gain of 4. Kyle Orton played his college ball not far from here at Purdue, grew up in Iowa, and then remember in 05, he was a rookie. He was drafted in the 4th round. Rex Grossman got hurt, so they wound up starting Orton as a rookie. And all they said to him was hand the ball off, don't turn it over. He did a pretty good job. They had a good record that year. And there's Grossman, who got healthy at the end of the year, led them into postseason play, and then was able to lead them to the Super Bowl. Meanwhile, Orton has been the number 3 quarterback, not even number 2, the last couple of years behind Brian Greasy. And that pass is deflected and incomplete.
You know, just talking to him last night, though, he seems like a very confident guy. I mean, I think that, you know, he feels that he should have been starting all along, and now he has the job, and he's not going to lose it. I think they still need those Bear things that we talked about. I mean, it's not all about a quarterback. I mean, he has to be surrounded, and he has to have the help around him. And to me, that always starts with a good offensive line and a good running back.
3rd down and 6. Forte with a first down and a lot more. And the rookie from Tulane will go into the end zone on a 50-yard run for a touchdown.
And it ends right there. That's exactly what we were talking about. If you can get in a 3rd down situation and you can hand it off and your offensive line can block like that and your runner can run like that, then it's not always all about the quarterback.
So the Chicago Bears wondering who their quarterback would be, wondering who their running back would be, wondering who their wide receivers would be, their go-to guy. Put Matt Forte into the lineup as the starter on opening night, and he pays his first dividend.
Right, and they liked Matt Forte from day one.
Robbie Gould for the point after with Maynard holding, and the kick is good on a 3rd and 6. 10 minutes into the game, Chicago on top.
You know what happens? You can see here that the Colts are in Tampa 2. Now, when they get in cover 2, the middle linebacker has to get deep because he has a deep middle. So Gary Brackett was about 8 or 9 yards deep, and that gave Forte a pretty good run at it. And there was a heck of a block by the right guard, Roberto Garza. Watch this. I mean, here's Bob Sanders coming across. Now, Bob Sanders, number 21, usually doesn't take poor angles. That time he took a poor angle. I mean, he has to go to an angle where he cuts Forte off rather than an angle where he ends up behind him like that.
Lefebvre in his wake, runs by Sanders, so there he is at age 22. He's the first rookie to start on opening day in the backfield for Chicago since a fellow you may have heard of. There he is, Walter Payton, who in his debut against the Colts in 75, 8 rushes, no yards. So he's had a slightly more successful beginning than Payton, but good luck having an ending like Walter's.
Or a middle.
Or a middle, or anything else.
Yeah, there was, you talk about a special player, that was Walter Payton.
Here's Roby, 3 yards into the end zone. The ball comes loose as he comes up past the 22-yard line, and there hasn't been a whistle until now. And now Parry comes in to say he was down, and it's the return team's ball. Parry coming in to signal, even though Chicago is saying it is our ball. Parry signaling that the ball was down and recovered.
As the return man was down by contact, there is no fumble. 1st and 10.
Oh, I don't know that he was down by contact.
Neither do I.
In fact, it looked like he just tripped. Maybe he tripped over his own guy, and he was not down by contact.
So let's see if Lovie Smith is going to throw the challenge flag here, which he can do. Trips over his own guy. The ball's coming out, and I would think that Smith, with Chicago recovering, he wanted to make sure Garrett Wolf recovers the ball for Chicago. So Smith is going to challenge the play. Parry goes over there, and if they rule that it was a fumble, then the play keeps on going in terms of who has possession, and clearly Chicago has possession at the end.
Chicago is challenging the previous play of a fumble versus down by contact.
So they'll take a look at this. John Parry will go under the hood, and the Bears could very well wind up with a football. Interesting play. We think it's a fumble, but the question now is who has the ball in the scrum, not who comes out of it. This ball is going to disappear in amongst about 10 bodies with blue shirts and white shirts. Garrett Wolf of Chicago is going to come away with it at the end after a few seconds. The Bears are jumping up and down. Wolf will come away with it, but it's not who comes out of the scrum, it's who has it in the scrum. And I don't know that you can determine that from this angle. There was Parry who had come in. He'd signaled the play dead, but it was challenged. I think they'll win that part of the challenge, but the question is, can the officials determine who came up with the football in the scrum? Clearly Wolf comes out with it at the end.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field stands. Indianapolis ball, 1st and 10. Chicago is charged with their first timeout.
And that's the reason. Parry, I think, should have given us a little bit more of an elaboration there. But the reason is I don't think they can determine who came out with it. Otherwise, I think Parry should have said he was down by contact,
right,
which I don't think he was.
I don't even know if he looked or cared, because he came in and was just pointing to the ground, blowing the whistle, saying down by contact. He thought that was his call, and I don't think they were worried about who had the ball after that.
I think you're right. 1st and 10, the ball is at the 22-yard line. And now we've got Clark on a screen, and he takes it to the 30, and the replay booth has just confirmed for us that the reason was, as we had suggested, that they couldn't tell who recovered it. So it was a fumble, but the question became who had it in the scrum, and that couldn't be determined, even though Wolf came out with it after the scrum.
And I think that's going to be one of the notes to all the officials, that when you do call down by contact, continue to watch the play to see who does recover the fumble.
So the Bears lose a timeout, 2nd down and 2, and they're down to one final challenge in this game. And on 2nd and short, the ball is handed off to Joseph Adai, who had a big day in the Super Bowl, as did Dominique Rhodes in Miami, February of '07. Alex Brown makes the tackle here.
You know, talking about the Super Bowl, the Bears were saying that they watched that game, you know, in their preparation more than anything else. And they felt that in the Super Bowl, if they could have stopped the run, that they could have beaten the Colts that day. So that's why they're ganging up in the middle. That's why they have their linebackers up in there tight. That's why their whole defense is set to stop this Colt run.
Adai got the first down on the 2-yard gain. Manning now, great protection, very clean pocket, and the pass is high. Intended for Reggie Wayne with 104 catches last year. Third in the league. Vasher with the coverage. Nathan was hurt a lot last year, and that's one of the reasons Chicago fell apart from time to time last year defensively, because of all of the injuries. Harris and Vasher and Mike Brown and others. Second and 10.
And I like what they're doing tonight. I mean, I like the way they're, you know, attacking a pass protection.
Here's Adai swinging to the outside, and the first man to hit him is Urlacher at the 35-yard line. That'll set up a 3rd down and 6. Now remember, the defense, the calls can be signaled in, and Urlacher has the helmet. Lloyd Lee is the linebacker coach. Bob Babbage is the defensive coordinator, but it's Lee who calls in the oral signal to Urlacher.
Right, and it's tough to do, because when the Colts don't huddle, then on defense you can't huddle either. So they still have the wristbands.
3rd and 6. The pass to the outside is ruled incomplete. What a shot. Charles Tillman hits Reggie Wayne before Wayne can make his first catch of the season, and it's 4th down.
That's a rule of a defensive back. If you can't get there to intercept or knock down the ball, get there shortly thereafter. And that's exactly what Charles Tillman did. He was a corner, and that was a slot, so he was playing zone. So he had that outside zone. He let his receiver go, then he looked in at number 2. And he went after and got number 2.
Hester, who's run back 12 kicks for touchdowns, plus 1 in the Super Bowl. And Smith this time will kick it toward the sideline, and that's going to be a beautiful kick, because Hester will be unable to run it back, and the Colts can down it at the 17, and that's a 47-yard boot with no return. The Bears did something that's almost never done. Greasy led the team in passing. Benson was their leading rusher, and Bernard Berrian, who signed with Minnesota in the offseason, all gone. 4 teams since free agency in '93 to replace the leading passer, rusher, and receiver. You know, that's a two-sided coin. Number one is you go, whoa. Number 2 is, well, we had a bad year, so those guys needed to be replaced, even though in the case of Berrian, he was a good receiver.
Right, he was a good receiver, and they made a mistake in Cedric Benson when they drafted him the 4th player in the draft, and they had to get out of that, and they did get out of it.
And Greasy was not the future. Brian did a nice job, and he goes to Tampa Bay. They hope Orton's the future, and meanwhile, they know that Forte might be the future as well. That's a 9-yard gain on the heels of that 50-yard touchdown romp.
You know, and just watching Matt Forte on film, and I saw the same thing right here, he has great feet. Watch him here. Watch how his feet are moving all the time. I mean, he can make those jump cuts. I mean, he can plant that left foot and then jump way over to the right and then plant the right foot and go upfield again. Very impressive.
Here's McKee. And like Manning, on the other side, he's a Louisianan with Peyton living in New Orleans, even though he went to Tennessee. Orton looks over toward the bench. Forte grew up in Slidell, Louisiana, right across the causeway from New Orleans, and then went across the lake to go to school at Tulane for 4 years and rushed for 2,100 yards last year with 23 touchdowns as a senior. Was the MVP in the Senior Bowl. Bears loved him, picked him second, and tonight he looks pretty good as he picks up a couple up to the 31-yard line.
Well, you know, he has those quick feet that we talked about, but he's also a downhill runner. I mean, once he makes a break, he's not going to do a lot more of them. He's just going to, you know, square his shoulders and get the ball downhill. And, you know, this guy is going to make some big plays, as we already saw, but he's not going to lose yardage.
2nd and 8. Lovie Smith saying he was going to play him for the first 3 series and then go to the former Lion, Kevin Jones, on the 4th series. We'll see. Orton stumbles back, and then the pass is caught by Hester. So Hester playing on offense as well. Not only a great return man, but this year they're going to move Hester in, rotate him as a wide receiver, and hope to get him in at least at the outset of the season for about 30 plays a game.
Yeah, and you know that he's such a good runner as a return guy. He's the inside guy here, so he's just going to run a little short hook. And one of those things, if we can just get him the ball in the open field, he can make something happen.
3rd and 1 out of the eye with Forte, the tailback. And Forte right through the middle again. And he might have been off to the races again, except Bob Sanders came up near the line of scrimmage to trip him up.
Yeah, but those are just the things we were talking about. Quick feet to get him started, and then squaring his shoulders and running downhill.
End of the first quarter, Chicago 7, Indianapolis 3. And NBC's Sunday Night Football that they tonight will bring Chris Sims in tomorrow, Phil's son, late of Tampa, to work out and take a physical. Matt Castle is their quarterback behind Brady. Here's Chicago now to start the second quarter, and this is Rasheed Davis making the catch. So, John, you know, it's a funny thing. You know, you talk about preseason, and we talked about Peyton Manning not playing in preseason at all, looking good tonight. Brady, because of that foot injury, doesn't play in preseason. And now, what's New England thinking about tonight?
They have to be devastated, but I think not only New England, I think the whole NFL is devastated. Tom Brady, one of the best players, one of the premier guys, one of the players, if you say who would you pay to watch, it's Tom Brady, and no one wants to see him out.
Orton going down the sideline, intended for Brandon Lloyd, incomplete, and it will be 3rd down and 5. So they lose Brady on opening day. Meanwhile, Brett Favre, the other story today, with a victory. But Miami, all things considered, made a lot of mistakes and hung in that game until the very end.
Right, Chad Pennington looked good. Miami looks like they're going to be a stronger team this year. And once you put Brett Favre on the Jets, then they become a contender. And then you add Brady out, and that whole thing's topsy-turvy now.
And of all things, the Jets face New England next week. 3rd and 5. On a draw, Forte will get stacked up. Pushed back by 4 Colts, led by Buffet, coming up from the defensive backfield, and it will be 4th down.
Yeah, everyone thinks they can run that draw on the Colts, and you usually can, but not on 3rd down, because they get those, ends up the field, but then they protect against the draw on 3rd down.
Maynard kicking to Keywan Ratliff. Ratliff sets up at his own 10-yard line. A little more than a minute into the second quarter, and the Bears up by 4. High floating short kick, fair caught at the 18-yard line by Ratliff. So 13:42 remaining in the opening half. Chicago leading Indianapolis 7-3. His first NFL job, linebackers coach in Tampa Bay, and defense is his pedigree, John.
Right, and I'm really impressed with the job that they're doing tonight. I mean, these linebackers are pressing the line of scrimmage. They're blitzing. They're putting pressure on Peyton Manning, trying to get right up in his face. And then they'll do this. They'll come and they'll fake it, run the linebackers out, stunt the line, just do anything to disrupt Peyton Manning from getting into a rhythm.
From the 18, Manning fires over the middle, and that's caught by Wayne, his first catch of the night. Out to the 36-yard line, his first catch of the season is good for a gain of 18, first down.
Yeah, I said earlier that I thought Peyton Manning would be a little rusty earlier, but just knowing Peyton, I felt that he would work it out and kind of get in a groove later, and I still feel that way, that before this game is over, Peyton Manning is going to get comfortable, and when he does, he's going to get in a groove.
At the 36-yard line. And they give it to Rhodes. Rhodes, one of the Super Bowl heroes, went to Oakland one year and now back here. Let's go to Andrea.
Well, guys, the Colts are playing without tight end Dallas Clark, who is in the locker room with a right knee injury. Now, when he came off the field, he sat on the ground. The doctors checked out his knee. He did jog off under his own power. The Colts are calling his return questionable.
Dallas Clark, obviously one of the best tight ends in the league, and they flex him out so much. He's really a hybrid wide receiver tight end. 2nd down and 6. And Manning will throw, and it's caught on a slant by Harrison, and that's a first down as he takes the ball into Chicago territory.
And it's just going to be a matter of time until Marvin Harrison goes deep. If you're going to play press coverage and if you're going to have a safety over the top, they'll run the slants, they'll run the crosses. If you leave them out there, if you press them and you don't have a safety over the top, they'll go deep to Marvin Harrison.
49-yard line. 1st and 10. Manning throws, and that one is caught by Marvin Harrison again. 4 grabs by him. And let's just, as I assume almost all of you have seen football either Thursday night or today, so the GU stickers on the uniform in the memory of the late Gene Upshaw, who passed away a couple of weeks ago, and the big adornment on the field at the 50-yard line. The players will be wearing those decals throughout the season. The adornment on the field is for this weekend only.
Yeah, you made the point with Dallas Clark out. All they do is go to 3 wide receivers, put Gonzalez in, and run the same formations.
2nd and 3. Manning, that's a wobbly pass, but right on the money with Gonzalez, who shakes a would-be tackler and is forced out of bounds by Mike Brown. Good spin move. Looked like Dwight Freeney on the other side of the ball on that one, as Gonzalez is able to spin around the defender and pick up 20 yards.
Yeah, Nathan Vasher is up there, and he's off a little. They're playing nickel defense. They come on a blitz. Gonzalez is able to go underneath. Then once he catches the ball, instead of continuing this way, he just pivots and goes back to where he came from.
Manning on this drive, 4-9 of 17 for 113 yards overall. The pump fake. Now to the end zone. Reaching for it is Wayne, and he can't come down with it. Just off his fingertips as he lays out in the end zone, and it's incomplete. Danielle Manning with the coverage.
Yeah, Reggie Wayne is the inside receiver in the slot. Remember last year when they would do this, they would put Anthony Gonzalez in the slot when they'd go 3 wide receivers. Now they leave Marvin Harrison outside, put Anthony Gonzalez on the other side, and then they work Reggie Wayne in the slot. I think he's a lot better slot receiver than Anthony Gonzalez.
2nd and 10. Manning over the middle, and that's incomplete. It was tipped. John, we know Manning pretty well. I would say he feels a heck of a lot more comfortable now than he did about an hour and 15 minutes ago.
Right, he was not very comfortable when he came here. He didn't come out and do that, pre-game stuff he did, and you could just tell in his eyes that he wasn't sure what was going to happen, when they started, shooting live defenses at him.
Wasn't very comfortable yesterday either.
No, he wasn't. He's lost a lot of weight.
He has.
I don't know that that's concerned him, but he's doing very well. At once, it's kind of like riding a bike, I think, for someone in his 11th year.
3rd and 10 is swinging out here to Dominique Rhodes to the 16-yard line. He's taken medication to keep the infection away from the bursa sac that was removed from his knee, and he said it's suppressed his appetite. And we saw him walk in tonight. He hasn't gone for a change of clothes, so he wore a suit that looked about 3 sizes too big on him.
Yeah, I would guess that he's lost over 15 pounds, and he said it was, the fact that he wasn't working out, the medication, both the pain medication and the medication for the infection.
Mom and Dad watching as they did the other night at the Meadowlands with Eli. This will be a 34-yard attempt now for Vinatieri on 4th down, and Adams' kick is just good, just inside the right upright. 9:38 to go in the half. Indy trims the Chicago lead to 1. It's been a challenge mixing preparation with rehab. There he was when he walked in tonight. As you can see, that suit not fitting him the way it normally would. Here he was walking out for the first time about an hour before the game. And, just in running into him the other night and talking to him yesterday, John, and it's mysterious. I mean, when you've never been hurt, you don't know what to expect.
And that's the look right there. That was the look about an hour before the game. And we've known Peyton Manning for a long time, and that's not the confident-looking Peyton Manning that we're used to seeing. But as you look at him now, he's gotten it. It was just that unknown. And he's a perfectionist, and he wants to know everything, and he wants to know how's the knee going to react when they start, rushing and start blitzing and doing those kinds of things.
Now, will they kick it away from Hester? Well, Hester lets Danielle Manning take it, and he brings it to the 34-yard line. I mean, every kick is like a half and half kick. Remember, they did kick to Hester in the Super Bowl on the opening kickoff, and Hester ran it back for a touchdown. Hester with 12 regular season returns for TDs, plus that one in postseason. So dangerous, so you don't want to kick it down to the goal line. But then again, if you kick it toward the sideline, it's going to be out of bounds. You give the other team the ball at the 40-yard line.
I would think when you have a guy like Devin Hester back there and they start at the 34, that's probably a win for your kickoff team.
It is, because the Bears last year, their average start after a kickoff was the 34, best in the league. And now they give it to Forte, and Forte will take the ball up to the 37-yard line. Fifth player in history with a TD run of 50 or more yards in the first quarter of his debut. Some others would be Michael Westbrook, Marion Butts, Earl Campbell, and you go back to the horse, Alan Amici, who did it in 1955.
One thing the Bears are doing, they're doing a good job of blocking Bob Sanders.
Screen, Forte. You see how tough he is, but then here comes Sanders to whack him.
I was just thinking, we don't hear much about Bob Sanders, and he's kind of the guy back there. When you run, he's going to be the run stopper. But they've been getting a blocker on Bob Sanders all night. And on this one here, Bob Sanders finds his way, but he's playing deep. And he runs the screen, and then here he comes right there. And I'll tell you, when he comes, he runs through stuff. You set him up like that, and Bob Sanders unloads on him.
So much so that Forte, and we mentioned that Lovie Smith said he was going to play 3 series. This is his 4th, but Sanders has just knocked them out of the game, at least for a play. So now the Bears will take a timeout with 8:18 to the half and a 1-point Bear lead. These heroes of Monday are back. Plus an all-new Chuck, Heroes of My Own Worst Enemy with Christian Slater. Mondays this fall, right here on the Peacock. The retractable roof opened on this pleasant night. Kevin Jones comes into the game after they look at Forte's shoulder, and the former Lion, who was picked up after he was let go by Detroit, is stopped by Gary Brackett, but his first carry as a Bear nets a first down as we look at the rookie Forte. That's his welcome to the NFL moment, wasn't it, John?
Yeah, by Bob Sanders there. He was kind of set up. Sanders was the second guy in, and he's not ready for that. I mean, although he sees him late, tries to get that shoulder down, and that's where Sanders put the hit on him.
From the 45. Jones, one-time #1 pick for Detroit. Orton gets it away as he gets contacted. Intended for the tight end, Desmond Clark. He had both tight ends in the same neighborhood, Clark and Greg Olsen, and it will be 2nd down and 10.
I think that's the thing they have to do, is just loosen this defense up a little by throwing a couple of deep ones. And you say that, and then watch John St. Clair here trying to block Dwight Freeney. Freeney just pushes him right back into Kyle Orton. So you can say, you got to throw deep, you got to stretch the field, you have to do all that. But if you can't pass protect it, if you can't get Freeney blocked, then you can't do those kinds of things. Kyle Orton, the deepest pass he's completed tonight is 7 yards.
2nd and 10, here's Jones. Well, you know, John, it became an in vogue expression about 3 or 4 years ago. People started to say, you want a quarterback like an Orton in this situation to manage the game. And it was kind of a compliment for a while. And then it became almost a disparagement as Kelvin Hayden is shaken up.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it is a negative thing. If a guy is managing the game, he usually can't play.
Injury timeout. On the sideline, he was testing his knee and he was riding the bike. Meanwhile, Hayden was poked in the eye. He comes out of the game. He'll be coming back in shortly. Out momentarily. Keywan Ratliff comes in. And Tim Jennings defensively. And Matt Forte is back in the game at running back. 3-step drop. Quick pass caught. That's Desmond Clark, the tight end, who they flex out like his namesake, Dallas Clark. And a first down off a 3rd and 6. 19-yard gain.
You know what they did is they put the wide receiver inside, put Desmond Clark on the outside, and then he just ran that slant. Kyle Orton throws that one very well.
And Chicago now goes to no huddle. And one team begins to emulate the other.
You know, and this crowd has not been a problem for the Bear offense.
Not at all. Forte. Well, the dome was very, very noisy. I mean, you were locked in. It was small. You had 60,000 people on top of you. Some people thought they were piping in noise. This is a much more cavernous building. And, of course, with the roof open and the picture window open off one end zone, there's a lot of places for the noise to escape.
Right, because the Bears worked on a silent count, thinking that they weren't going to be able to hear. Like I said, that has not been a problem in this first half.
Almost on cue. You've got a problem on the offensive line.
False start, number 67 offense, 5-yard penalty, 2nd down.
Josh Beekman, the left guard.
Sometimes that goes from the no huddle. You know, everyone, is concentrating on the play. What's the call? What's the formation? What's my assignment? And then they forget the last part of it. What's the snap count?
2nd down and 12. Orton put his hands in the air as if to say, give me the call. Clock ticking down, 5:45 left in the half. Orton throwing deep, and it's intercepted and then dropped by Kelvin Hayden, who just was poked in the eye, missed a couple of plays, came back in. Meanwhile, Freeney came in and hit Orton as he got rid of the ball.
Watch Dwight Freeney. If you want to learn how to spin on a tackle, you start up to the outside, spin, get that right arm up, and come right into the quarterback. Dwight Freeney, I said earlier, one of the best pass rushers, definitely the best spinning pass rusher.
3rd and 12, and now for the first time the crowd rises as one. Decibel level about as high as it's been tonight. Devin Hester is wide to the left. Orton flushed out, looking downfield, has room to run. And Orton bangs into Hayden and is able to pick up a couple of more yards, but is just short of the first down. However, he positions Robbie Gould for a very makeable field goal.
It happens after a defensive end gets a big pass rush and you get 3rd down. Now you put another guy over there to help. And you can see Greg Olson, the tight end, he comes in there to chip and just double teams Freeney. I don't know that you want to do that. At least he turned his left shoulder. I don't know that quarterbacks in the open field want to take on tacklers with their shoulders, but at least he didn't do it with his right shoulder.
That was a 10-yard gain on 3rd and 12. That's a 41-yard attempt for Robbie Gould, one of the best in the league, and Gould's kick is good. So he matches Vinatieri's earlier field goal to make it a 4-point game again. Chicago on top by a score of 10-6. NBC Sunday Night Football is being brought to you by DirecTV. Now get over 130 of your favorite channels in HD by the GMC Sierra, the official vehicle of the NFL, and by Verizon Wireless. Aerial coverage tonight brought to you by Gillette Body Wash. Wild looking facility. You drive in from the airport and it just looms Indianapolis with a burgeoning skyline. We've been coming here for years, John, and there it is at the front of the skyline, and it makes the RCA Dome, which is next to it, look like a pimple.
Right, I know it. And if you look at it, I think if you came from outer space and you would look at this and you'd say, what is it? You wouldn't guess it was a football stadium. I mean, from the outside, it looks like it would be an arena of some sort.
Right. Well, it's the new architecture where you make it, with a lot of brick, and it has a little bit of like Camden Yards in Baltimore, as a lot of the new stadiums do. The brick facade.
Tony Dungy says he has a big new office here and he doesn't know what to do with it.
Yeah, he only uses it 8 times a year, 10 counting preseason, as Roby brings it back to the 21-yard line, and there's a flag down.
Archie Manning's here. We saw a shot of Archie and Olivia, Peyton's mother and father, and I know what Archie's thinking right
During
now.
the return, illegal block on number 51. 10-yard penalty, 1st and 10.
What he's thinking is you leave these guys in there, you should beat them, you move the ball, but you didn't get that touchdown. You should have had the touchdown, and then when you don't get it, you let these guys hang in there, and they're going to, I'm talking about the Chicago Bears, and they're going to get more and more confident, and they're going to be tougher and tougher to beat for you.
That penalty was on Jordan Center. Well, the Mannings were in New York the other night. The Giants scored a touchdown on their first drive and then didn't score another touchdown. And Peyton hasn't gotten the Colts into the end zone. So for the Manning parents, it's over 5 quarters of not seeing their guys get the ball into the end zone. Peyton will go down under pressure by Marcus Harrison, a rookie out of Arkansas, who backs up Agunleye at end, and Harrison gets his first career sack.
Well, they've been doing a good job at this, of getting pressure right up the middle. Now earlier, Peyton Manning was able to get to the outside and get away from it. But that time he tried to come to this side, and he couldn't get out here. Marcus Harrison beating Ryan Dean.
Badly. 2nd down 20 from the 2-yard line. Harrison comes in behind right tackle, and a dive. Can he get out of the end zone is the question. No. Safety. And that's Agunleye. Well, the Bear defense, which had become suspect last year because of a lot of injuries, didn't play particularly well in preseason. As I said, Bear fans are nervous. They're a little less nervous at the moment.
Right, and they were really confident last night. Now, remember, coming out, the whole ball has to get out. Going in, the ball just has to cross or break the plane. Coming out, it has to break through the plane, and the entire ball has to be out of the end zone line.
And it did not. It's a reviewable situation if they want to challenge it, but as you can see, he goes down, and clearly there's a part of the ball that doesn't come out of the end zone.
Well, that was penetration by both defensive ends on the first play. It was Harrison that made that big play that backed him up, and then again the penetration when they got him down there. You just play a goal line defense like you're playing goal line if they had the ball going in.
Some folks in the crowd want Dungy to throw the flag because they've watched the replay, and Tony's going to throw it. And I think he's going to throw it because he is going to hope and contend that John Parry will look at it, and when the forward progress of a die was stopped, the whole ball was out, because it looked like the whole ball came out for like a 100th of a second.
Indianapolis is challenging the previous play of a safety.
But I don't know how you rule it that way.
I don't think so. I don't think that the whole ball got out over the line.
I think for one very fleeting instant, here he comes, he's going to get stopped. Now, where is forward progress? The ball is behind the line. The ball is still, well, right there, it almost comes out, but there's no way you overturn that. That's as far as it gets out, but it appears that some of the ball is still over the line, then he's pushed back, and the referee's looking, or the officials are looking right down the line, and I don't think there's anything that Parry can see on the replay that will negate the safety. Tony 20 out of 52 in challenges. So again, it almost comes all the way out. It looked from the other angle.
Right, and that's the official looking at it from the other side. The guy right down the line. Oh, he was blocked out there, though. The guy calls it.
Yeah, but the ball clearly never comes out.
Remember, it's not where his feet are, where his knee is. It's where the ball is. And coming out, again, the whole ball has to get out of the end zone.
And the crowd looking at the replays, the same ones you are.
Yeah, but maybe they don't know that the whole ball. You know, you can say that
exactly
right.
Yeah,
it broke the plane.
Yeah.
Well, going in, it's breaking the plane. Coming out, it's the whole ball.
They're going in, the nose of the ball can be right at the tip of the goal line, and that would be a touchdown. This is a different situation. So the safety, unless I'm crazy, will stand. It will be 12-6, and then Indianapolis, with 3:59 to go in the half, will be kicking a free kick from the 20-yard line. And that's interesting too, because that's going to put Chicago in a position where, you know, if you want to kick a high short kick, you're kicking from your own 20, not from the 30. You know you've got Devin Hester back there, so you're really in Dutch.
Play stands as called. Indianapolis is charged with their third and final timeout.
Yeah, and again, anybody booing doesn't know the rules. Simple as that.
No, but you bring up a good point here now. This is going to be a tough situation because what you have on a free kick is you have your kickoff coverage team along with your punter. You can either, with a free kick, you can either kick it like a kickoff or you can punt it. Everyone elects to punt it. Now, what do? I mean, you know, you want to get it, you know, high and short. I'm not sure of that. That's what Tony was talking about yesterday. I don't know that you want to angle it towards the sideline. I think this is one that you're going to have to kick the ball to Devin Hester.
Hester is setting up at the 23-yard line. That, by the way, cost the Colts a timeout. Manning used 2 earlier, so the Colts are out of timeouts. Chicago has 1 left, and this kick is an angled kick. It will bounce at the 29. Hester fields it at the 21. Gets in behind some blocking, and Hester to the outside, and the coverage is good this time as he gets it back only to the 38-yard line. So here's the rookie out of Tulane, second-round pick, Matt Forte, and the first half, John, that he has had.
Well, I like him. I like the way, you know, he runs. We talked about his feet, about running downhill, but he also has great vision. I mean, he can see the hole. He can see the pursuit. He can see the defenders coming. And when you run through the first line, you're looking at the second and third line, and he is excellent at that.
10 carries for 86 yards. The big one, the 50-yard touchdown. Forte, and he's stopped in the backfield, and there's a flag. That's number 99, Ed Johnson, the tackle, stopping him in his tracks.
Holding, number 57 offense, 10-yard penalty. First down.
Holden Kreutz. Let's go to Andrea.
Well, I can tell you, Matt Forte is not bereft of confidence. I was talking to him last night. I said, how's your transition been to the NFL? And he said, very smooth. I'm not fazed by the speed of the game at all. Now, he pointed to the quick feet he has, especially for a big back. But he also told me if he's one-on-one in the open field, he'll take anybody on, even if it's Bob Sanders, as we saw him do.
Outran him after faking out Buffet on that 50-yarder. First and 20. Here he is. Puts his head down. Tries to move the pile. And gets it out to the 31-yard line. When the season began, or at least training camp began, it looked as if they might go with Adrian Peterson, not the Minnesota Adrian Peterson, as their number 1 back. And they picked up Kevin Jones, did Lovie Smith. And, of course, Forte had to prove himself. And there's a look at Peterson. And then you had Garrett Wolfe. So it was uncertain when they opened up camp as to who the guy would be. But quickly, Forte impressed and wins the nod.
Yeah, and I think Forte obviously is number 1. I think as a base running back, Kevin Jones is number 2.
Second and 17, and that is caught for a first down by Brandon Lloyd. Another of the pickups. Finished last year on IR with Washington. Last touchdown he scored with San Francisco in 05.
You're going to see Brandon Lloyd here. He's working on number 23, Tim Jennings. Jennings has him, you know, to the outside. Brandon Lloyd does a good job of just running him up the field and then bringing him back on a hook. Good pass protection, Kyle Orton was just able to read it, step up, and throw it.
His specialty, leaping ability. Forte into Indy territory to the 48-yard line. So the 2-minute warning is coming. Indianapolis cannot stop the clock, so Chicago can move it down for what they hope would be at least a field goal attempt and take about all the time in the half off the clock as well. 2-minute warning coming up from Indianapolis, where the Chicago Bears are on top of the Colts. 12 Favre's debut, the latest on Tom Brady's knee injury as well, coming up on the Toyota halftime show. 2nd down and 6 now. First ball after the 2-minute warning is a pass to the outside, and that's caught by Marty Booker, the once and present Bear, who went to the Pro Bowl as a Chicagoan in 2002, then went down to Miami, and now they bring him back in 08.
You have to like what the Bears are doing now. You know, once they've established that they can run the ball, now the pass protection is a lot easier, and that last pass there was a play-action pass, and that's very effective.
Peyton is on the bike, telling us yesterday he would do that. It's the first time we've seen him tonight get on that bike as Forte takes the ball to the 36-yard line. Now Chicago has 1 timeout. Clock ticking down, and upcoming will be a 2nd down and 5, and they'll go without a huddle here.
Isn't it something how Matt Forte again can just find those little holes and slither through them, and it's all with those quick feet.
He has 97 yards, and we have movement up front, and that's almost picked. As coming in was Tim Jennings from the corner. And Parry, who's had a busy first half, will announce the call.
Encroachment, number 93 defense, 5-yard penalty. Result of the penalty, first down.
Dwight Freeney coming across the line. So now the ball goes to the 31-yard line, and they're already within Robbie Gould's field goal range with 62 ticks and 1 timeout remaining.
You know, and watching Kyle Orton in practice and watching him in film in the preseason, the closer he gets to the goal line, the better quarterback he is, the better passing quarterback.
And this time he won't get a chance to get it away because he's going to get sacked. Dawson is the first guy in there, and then Freeney is second.
Keontae Dawson is over the right guard, and you're going to see him right here. He's just going to come straight up the middle, and then from the other side comes Freeney.
Freeney finished them off at 2nd down and 18, and now they're going to give it to Forte, and Forte is going to take it to the 36. So they were within field goal range. Now they're right on the edge, and they're going to take their final timeout here. Meanwhile, Forte, with that 3-yard run, now has 100 yards on 14 carries in the first half, 50 on 1 carry. And what you have now is a 3rd and 15 without a timeout. If they don't gain a yard, you'd be looking at about a 53-yard field goal for Robbie Gould.
And the Bears have a pretty good plan here. If the Colts are in cover 2, or if they're playing both of those safeties deep and Bob Sanders out of there, they run the ball, and they run it inside, and they run it well. Now, if Sanders comes up and they have a cover 1 or cover 3, then they're just throwing the ball to the outside receiver. And I think they would have to maybe do the same thing in this situation to get into a field goal situation.
That's Hester, slot left.
Throw to the outside receiver.
And the pass down the right sideline is caught on the run for a first down by Olsen. And now they'll have to get up there and spike the ball. They don't have a timeout. So Orton leading them up. He's going to have to spike it. He'll have time to do that, but probably not to get into the end zone, as they'll just have to settle for a field goal attempt. And there he spikes it with 4 seconds left. So Olsen got free on a 3rd and 15. And now a chip shot field goal attempt to try to make it a 9-point game.
So you're going to see Greg Olsen. He's the outside guy. He's right here. Now they brought the safety up, so they knew that they were going to have man coverage. But look at the man coverage they had. They had a linebacker on Olsen because he's a tight end. Kyle Orton, when he saw the safety come up, knew that that was going to be man out there, and he hits Olsen with a perfect pass.
Freddie Kiaho with the tackle. 25-yard field goal attempt for Robbie Gould. And that is good. 2 field goals plus a safety plus the Forte touchdown. And that takes us to the half. And the Chicago Bears, big underdogs at the half, leading 15-6. The Bears would be leading 15-6 at the half on opening night at Lucas Oil Stadium, with the Colts heavily favored. But the Bears came in last night talking to Lovie Smith and the players and all of that, and there was a quiet air of confidence. And you didn't know if they were whistling in the dark after the preseason or not, but so far so good for Chicago, and that kickoff is fielded 7 yards into the end zone. And now, after staying back in the end zone, it's Hester who comes out, and that is Melvin Bullitt, number 33, who stays in there and shoots him.
Big play by Melvin Bullitt there, staying with it. You know, the coverage teams tend to let up when a return guy, just stays in the end zone. They think the play's over. He didn't take a knee. You see, Hester doesn't do anything. He's just trying to lull him to sleep. Melvin Bullitt doesn't go to sleep.
In his rookie year, about midway through the season in New York, on a missed field goal, he ran one back 108 yards on a similar play where he tried to play possum in the end zone, never downed it. The whistle never sounded, and he thought he could get away with it again. So now they start from deep in their own territory, and Forte will take it out to the 5-yard line.
You just see that look on Lovie Smith, and knowing that they had the momentum, they had everything going their way, or they still have that, and then boom, they give the Colts a field position turn like this.
2nd and 8 from the 5. Orton off the fake, moving to his left and throwing into traffic, and that one was incomplete. Raheem Brock put the pressure on. He tried to get it out to the fullback McKeon. It sets up a 3rd and long.
And this is one of those things where you talk about Kyle Orton and being a manager and being consistent and not making the dumb play, and you can't make it here. I mean, this is where maybe you have to be a little conservative, but you can't force anything. You can't let the Colts have a takeover in this situation. And if you're the Colts, you want to go after and get a takeover.
Brought the crowd right back into it. Hester is wide to the left. They give it to Forte, and Forte can only get out to the 10-yard line. So it's 3 and out from deep in their own territory, and the Colts should wind up with the ball around midfield. Once again, until you down it, the whistle will not blow here. Just playing possum right there. Then he decides, okay. But the Colts were alert. And for the Colts, that's a really good play, because the Colts over the past couple of years have had tremendous coverage problems with their special teams.
Right. I was impressed with how quickly Melvin Bullitt came in there. I mean, he was going after Devin Hester full speed.
And that will send Maynard back to almost the back line of the end zone. It's Danielle Manning moving.
In fact, at 15 yards, usually the punter is 15 yards back from the snapper, and that's exactly 15 at the back line. So he's going to have to catch that ball at about 14 yards from the snapper.
Gets away a very good kick, and a deep kick fielded at the 40-yard line by Kewan Ratliff. And Ratliff brings it back out to the 47-yard line. So Maynard needed a good one, and he got one. 56-yard boot, 8-yard return. Colts have the ball near midfield, early 3rd. Some things money can't buy. For everything else, there is MasterCard. And by Toyota, watch Toyota's line of scrimmage Sunday nights on NBC. John, that's the Boogie Burger. It's located near Butler University. You go in there, you have one of those, and you walk over to the Simon Property Group Shopping Center and buy new pants.
A couple pair of new pants.
Just 2 sizes larger. Here's Manning now. Starting from the 48-yard line, 1st and 10. looking left and looking right and throwing it out of bounds, and we check in with Andrea Kramer. Andrea.
Well, despite that throw, Tony Dungy insists that Peyton Manning is not rusty, but he will not likely have the services of Dallas Clark for the rest of this half. Dungy said it's questionable that he will be back with that knee injury. The one thing that the Bears have got to, are continuing to do, and that the Colts have to guard against, is that pressure up the middle and the blitzing. Much success with it for the Bears. Colts have to stop it.
And with Clark out, that means we'll see a lot of Gian Robinson, number 47, who sets up tight on the right side. First-year player out of Missouri Western State. Manning up on his toes. Manning throws, hits Wayne. Wayne will go down, but not until he picks up a first down, trying to spin away from the defensive back Mike Brown, who gets enough of him to tackle him.
You know, that's one of the things that Peyton Manning was worried about, you know, is as you said, Al, he's up on his toes. I mean, this is the way he reads, this is the way he throws, and that was the old Peyton Manning footwork there. Reggie Wayne again in the slot on that side, running and out. When they put Anthony Gonzalez, they have 3 wide receivers. Gonzalez is one of the outside guys. Reggie Wayne is like here in the slot.
Wayne in the slot, Harrison outside, Gonzalez wide to the left. Manning deep down the right sideline, and a flag is thrown, and Tillman is arguing his case with the official one-on-one with Marvin Harrison.
Prior to the pass, illegal contact, number 33, defense, 5-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
That's different than pass interference because they're going to get the ball only 5 yards downfield.
Well, what they're saying is that Charles Tillman did the foul before the ball was in the air. Now, if the ball is in the air when he fouls him, which he didn't there, then it would be pass interference. If it was before, after 5 yards, before the ball's in the air, it's a 5-yard penalty.
And an automatic first down. The ball is at the 32-yard line.
But this is the area where you go to a Marvin Harrison. If he's angry and gets fast, this is a time to use it.
He's wide to the right. Manning looks to the slot man, Wayne, and that will be a first down for the Colts as Wayne is tackled at the 19-yard line.
See, by having Reggie Wayne and Marvin Harrison on the same side, when you run a slant, you can run a double slant. Marvin Harrison runs a slant from the outside. Reggie Wayne, you'll see him in the slot. He runs the slant from the inside. So you see it's a read for Peyton Manning when he has a double slant. He sees Reggie Wayne has a step, so he gives him the ball.
From the 19-yard line, the pass is good for a 4-yard gain. He goes to Marvin Harrison. Harrison has now caught 5 balls for 49 yards.
You know, and that's the same play they ran the play before. It was a double slant. The play before, he threw it to Reggie Wayne, who was in the slot. That time they threw it to Marvin Harrison, who was the outside receiver. The wide receivers never come into the huddle. They just kind of stand out at their position, and the play is relayed to them.
2nd and 6. All passes on this drive to this point. It's the 5th play of the drive. Now the first rush, and it's a dive breaking tackles, picking up the first down and making it a 1st and goal for the Colts. Finally stopped by Tillman, and a skirmish at the 12-yard line.
You know what he audible to there? He audible to the run, and here's his read. Anytime he sees too deep here, he knows he has this and this, and he's going to run the ball. If he sees one of these guys up, he's going to throw it to an outside receiver. So he saw a double safety deep, and that was an audible to a run.
It was a little skirmish, and it was enough of a skirmish that Gian Robinson, who takes Clark's place at tight end, has to come out. And now they go to Jacob Tammy, who's a rookie out of Kentucky, number 84, who lines up on the right side.
Tammy's not a real good blocker, but a good receiver.
Right, here's Wayne. And Gonzalez trying to lay down a block for him, but can't, as Mike Brown comes in to finish off the play and sets up a 2nd and goal. Devin Hester on the sidelines, knowing that he pinned them deep with the mistake trying to come out of the end zone, giving Indy the ball at midfield, starting from their own 48, and then the Colts trying to cash in.
Right, and took a little momentum away from the Bears and gave it to the Colts.
He got the crowd very much into the game. 2nd and goal. Fake to a guy to the end zone, and open is Wayne for the touchdown.
He found something he liked on this drive, and that was Reggie Wayne on the slot right. That time he's gonna get it right between Brian Urlacher and Briggs. You see Urlacher 54, Briggs right there. He just gets it over their heads and right in behind them. See the play action fake that holds the linebackers enough that Reggie Wayne can get in behind them.
Vinatieri out of the Hunter Smith hole. And we have a 2-point game, and let it be duly noted, the first Colt touchdown in the history of Lucas Oil Stadium. Manning to Wayne. 15-13 Chicago. Smith, his first pro job. He came down, put him on the staff at Tampa Bay when Tony was there in the late 90s. And Rod Marinelli was also given a job by Tony, and Lovey and Rod Marinelli shared a room at a Fleabag hotel to save money, and they barely had enough room in the room, and Lovey said he used to do all his work in the lobby.
Right, and that's an old defensive line coach and an old linebacker coach.
Here's Hester now trying to atone from a yard into the end zone. Hester swinging to the outside. Hester with a stiff arm, and then he gets run out of bounds and knocks over somebody on the sideline as Kewan Ratliff makes the tackle. And there they were, Tony Dungy, 96 through 01, and Lovey then went to St. Louis because he became the defensive coordinator and eventually assistant head coach, which led to his job here. The two of them meeting up in Super Bowl 41 in Miami, which the Colts won by a score of 29-17.
Two of them very, very solid coaches, very solid gentlemen. You know, they're fundamentally sound. They know what they want, and they most of the time get what they want in their play.
Now here's Kevin Jones taking it for a gain of about 6. Jones, a heralded college star at Virginia Tech, and the Lions picked him #1, and then he was injured a lot in Detroit, and he was in and out of the lineup a lot, and finally they decided to go in a different direction, and he winds up with Chicago.
You know, again, I like the plan that the Bears have is getting a blocker on Bob Sanders if he comes up as an 8th man.
Jones. And he's going to get tackled by the outside linebacker.
And you know what they're doing? That time they brought up Antoine Bethea, and every time they do it, they're getting a tackle on him. And so if they come up to the right side, watch John Tate. He'll pull out there and he'll get on. Every time they bring that guy up, they've been getting the tackle on him if they have to block him.
Brackett, the middle linebacker, making the tackle. 3rd and 2. Forte comes back into the game. The ball is at the 34. Half the crowd on its feet. Orton will swing it to the outside, and that's caught by Olsen, who made the big grab down the sideline to set up the field goal. Greg Olsen, their #1 pick out of the University of Miami, now in his 2nd year. They were wild about him last year, loved him, and they think he can be a major star in the future.
Yeah, and he knows, you see him starting here in the backfield, and they know that they have man coverage when he sees the blitz coming. He knows that he's going to have man coverage on his outside receiver, but also on his tight end, Greg Olsen, coming out of the backfield.
Caught 39 with 2 touchdowns in his rookie year. The ball is at the 41 now, 1st down. More than halfway through the 3rd quarter. Orton to Forte, wrapped up at the line of scrimmage. Orton saying last night, you know, we want to get back to a power running game. We want to complete a high percentage of passes. We want to take a shot downfield occasionally, which he's done tonight, and possess the ball. Don't turn it over.
You know, the other thing he was talking about was his receiver. He said, do you have a go-to guy? And he says, yeah, it would be Rasheed Davis. But Rasheed Davis has not been that guy tonight.
2nd and 10. Pass is caught by Forte, and that's a great tackle to at least momentarily save a first down by Clint Session, who comes up to grab him around the ankle, stop him just shy of the 50-yard line, and set up a 3rd down and 1 for the Bears.
I like the way Kyle Orton's playing here. I mean, he's taking what the defense gives him. He's not getting antsy, and he's playing very calm on the road, and that's big in a quarterback.
On 3rd and 1. And they give it to the rookie, and he just does get enough as he's stopped beyond the yellow line. Freddie Keaho makes the tackle. Forte has now gained 110 yards tonight, and he's the first player in the history of that venerable franchise with 100 or more rushing yards in his NFL debut. Right now 109 officially on 18 carries.
You know, and there's nothing about Matt Forte that looks like a rookie, and I noticed that in training camp. I was up there at Bear training camp this year, and he just stepped right in as a starter, and he looked like he'd been there for years.
Now Kevin Jones is in the game. Jones lays down a nice block to buy time for Orton, but then the pass is thrown low at the feet of Desmond Clark. Daughter of Papa Bear, Virginia McCaskey is here looking on. Very short trip down here from Chicago, and she's seen a little bit of history in her time.
Yes, she has. Great history. You think of the NFL and the Chicago Bears and George Halas, and all goes together, doesn't it?
2nd down 10. The ball is at the 48. Down in the pocket, the pass comes out to Brandon Lloyd, who makes the catch. No Bear has caught more than 2 passes tonight. Orton has gone to 7 different receivers, and the numbers are okay. 10 out of 18 for 114 yards. But as you say, John, looking mature, playing effectively, has his team in the lead and on the move right here.
Right, and you know, again, anytime they see a single safety, he knows he has man coverage outside, so he's just working to the outside, and when he sees a double safety, he's going to the running game.
3rd and a deuce from the 40. Forte, and he appears to be a little short. Let's wait and see as the head line judge comes in, and this is going to be very close, probably compelling a measurement.
And again, that was the thing that he saw. They had the 2 safeties there, so then you know Bob Sanders isn't going to be up there, and he's not going to be stuffing your run, and you're going to be running against a 7-man front.
So the ball is at the 38-yard line. If they don't pick it up, I don't think you can gamble here, even on 4th and inches. I wouldn't, but who knows?
No, I wouldn't either. You know, they already. Oh boy.
I think that's a first down.
I think it's a first down.
Yeah, it is. The nose of the ball right there. Small beef put up by Raheem Brock, but a rule's a rule. That's it.
Raheem Brock couldn't believe it. And pretty good running, just getting that ball past that line to get the first down. And you know, the other group that's doing a lot better job than I expected they would in this game is the offensive line of the Bears. That interior, and you know, they're playing with John St. Clair here at left tackle, and you know, he's had his problems with Freeney, but I think all in all, they're doing a very good job of run blocking and a pretty good job of pass protection.
Orton on first down is going to give the ball to Jones. Decent-sized hole. Jones gets to the 34-yard line. He's stopped by Key Dawson.
You know, again, watch the right side here. I mean, they get a good double team, and then John Tate comes off and gets to the next level. You're always going to get a big run when you can start on a double, and one of the offensive linemen is able to come off that double and get up to the next layer, being the linebacker.
2nd and 5. Jones to the short side of the field. Keaho is the first guy there, and that's going to set up a 3rd down and 6 for the Bears.
You know, we were talking about that play. Watch John St. Clair here. He's going to come out and try and get Bob Sanders. Sanders does a nice job of playing it. You want to keep it contained so that there's no place that Kevin Jones can cut that ball up. And he made Kevin Jones just run it out of bounds.
Forte back in the game. Sanders getting the crowd back into it for Indianapolis. 3rd down and 6. Key play. And the ball knocked away from Orton, who recovers it after Robert Mathis came around the end and knocked it away. So that takes them out of any potential field goal. Makes it 4th down and brings in Maynard in the punting unit.
Yeah, we were talking about Dwight Freeney and the things that he did, but watch Robert Mathis, number 98. He goes right around John Tate and reaches his outside arm, his left arm out, and knocks that ball out of Kyle Orton's hand. Watch him dip that right shoulder and put that left hand around and knock the ball out. That is a play.
Maynard to kick. He'll angle it to the far side. Not far enough, though, as Ratliff is able to fair catch it at the 16-yard line. That's where Manning and the offense come back on the field. Down by 2. 2:06 to play in the quarter. From the 16-yard line now. Adai and Rhodes are both in the backfield, flanking Manning in the shotgun. 4-man Chicago rush. And then Manning tries to get it off, and it's incomplete. Alex Brown came around the corner to force it. Let's go to Andrea.
Well, guys, I've been closely watching Peyton Manning's sideline routine as he juggles preparation and rehab. Here it's business as usual, watching the pictures, on the phone with his coaches. Then he has to keep that knee loose. The biggest challenge he has is the stiffness on the bike. And finally, he does his throwing to warm the arm up before heading back to the field.
Manning tonight leading that 1 touchdown march to make a 9-point game a 2-point game. And that's what it is right now. Manning. And that's caught on the slant. And then the ball is fumbled by Harrison. And it's picked up by Briggs. And he's inside the 10-yard line. And he's going to go in for the touchdown. Charles Tillman created the fumble. And Marvin Harrison, who fumbled, and it was a big fumble in the playoff game with San Diego, the last time he played a game here in Indianapolis. Coughs one up here.
Well, the Bears come on a blitz, so Charles Tillman is going to be man-to-man on that slant. He gets the slant, he catches the ball. Now he comes in behind him and throws that right arm in there and hand and chops the ball out. Lance Briggs is right there to pick it up. You know, that was the thing that they'd been doing on that last drive, is going slot right and then throwing either the slant to Marvin or to Reggie Wayne. That time they played it well, and he still caught the ball, and he came in and chopped it out.
Now, Tony's thinking about, well, he's looking at the replay. He's trying to see as much of it as he can, and now he's going to contend that it wasn't a complete pass, is my assumption here. John Parry will tell us. I mean, that's the only thing I can think of. Go back again here. Does Harrison have control? Both feet down. 1, 2.
Completion of a fumble versus an incomplete pass.
I think it stands. Yeah, I think he's just stretching there.
Yeah.
They're trying to find anything to get back an advantage.
On a wing and a prayer, he throws the flag. Mainly a prayer. The rule is very simple. 2 feet down, and what they now say is a discernible length of time to possess the ball. Remember, they used to say things like make a football move, whatever that was. That's gone. I mean, they made it pretty clear. It has nothing to do with making whatever a football move was supposed to have been. 2 feet down, discernible length of time. He has 2 feet down. He possesses the ball. I don't see how they overturn it.
No, that's a catch and a fumble.
The ruling on the field stands. 2 feet down with possession, not a fumble. Chicago touchdown. Indianapolis is charged with their first timeout.
Both challenges lost by Tony Dungy tonight.
You know, the Bears have really been physical against this Colt team, and you know, usually when you blitz like the Bears blitzed on that last play and the Colts just threw a slant, usually, you know, a year or two ago, Peyton Manning would make you pay for that blitz, and now In this game, he's going to that shorter pass, that slant, those kinds of things. And when he does catch them in a blitz, then all they get out of it is a slant.
Dungy now out of challenges. And the only time they can look at something will be in the final 2 minutes of the fourth quarter, where they have to emanate from upstairs.
I think the Colts have to get upset. I think they have to say, doggone it, we're in one here. We got to go play like a Colt football team.
And Gold makes it a 2-possession game now. It's a 9-point lead. 152. The Bear defense coming up big tonight. Right now down by 9 points. They have won 21 consecutive games in the months of September and October. Haven't lost since 04, but that's in jeopardy tonight. Courtney Roby to run back the kick. And Roby with a good return, but a flag is down, and Robbie Gould is going to bump him out of bounds in front of the Chicago bench, but there are 2 penalty markers back inside the 20.
Return, illegal block in the back, number 84, return team. Half the distance to the goal. 1st and 10, Indianapolis.
Jacob Tammy, the rookie, and 2 officials caught him. Since Lovie Smith took over in 04, you can see 11 interception returns for a touchdown. And of course, Hester, for the most part, responsible for the punts and the kickoffs. 4 fumbles returned, a missed field goal twice, a block punt. That defense tonight, not only with that interception return, is Harrison fumbles it away here after the hit by Tillman, and Briggs runs it in. But remember, the defense also created the safety.
Right, and you know, when you talk to Lovie Smith, he says that, you know, that the defense has to not only get takeaways, but has to score.
From the 10 now. Stepping to his left, firing, caught up at the 25. John, you make a great point with Manning not doing the things he would normally do. You know, physically, he looks very good. If you didn't know he missed preseason, had the knee problem, you'd walk in here and say, hey, he looks just fine.
Yeah, but he's letting the Bears off the hook. He's letting them blitz too much. And, you know, it used to always be that if you laid off, you'd hit stuff in front of you. If you blitzed him or pressured him, you know, he'd make you pay for it. And they haven't been going for anything big when the Bears have been blitzing.
1st and 10 at the 25. Here's a dive swinging to the outside. And a dive comes close to getting the first. He's tackled by number 44, Kevin Payne, about a yard short of the first down as we tick down under a minute now remaining in the third quarter.
And that's one thing that they have to remember. You know, we talk about the blitz and, you know, and having to take some shots deep here somewhere. And the other thing, you have to stay with the run. I mean, that still has to be a part of it.
32 seconds and ticking down remaining in the quarter out of the shotgun. On 2nd and 1. And Manning's going to go for Harrison off his fingertips on a 2nd and 1. Pretty much a free play. Charles Tillman is there with the coverage. Incomplete, 3rd and 1.
You know, and you just knew that they had to do that. I mean, and he'd kind of been letting this Bear defense off the hook, and he kind of has to stretch him out now, and that's the way to do it. Get Marvin Harrison out there, get him deep, and then, you know, of course, you have to make the play. That's poor by Marvin Harrison there. You know where it's poor? Not getting both hands up. Just getting one hand, not bringing the other.
Here's what's also poor, very un-Colt-like. Manning has to take a timeout on the 3rd and 1, put his palms up in exasperation. And remember, they've already lost a challenge. So now, in a game in which they are trailing by 9 points, they are down to 1 timeout and no challenges.
And as you say, very unlike Peyton Manning, very unlike Tom Moore, very unlike Tony Dungy. But I'll tell you, the Bears have given them a heck of a fight tonight. You know, maybe more than they expected. I think that the Bears have shocked them a little.
More than we expected, too.
Well, yeah. I mean, they're playing a lot better. I mean, you watched them You know, as you said, last year they really didn't play well. They didn't play well at all in preseason.
No.
And then, you know, they come here and they look like the old Chicago Bears the way they're supposed to look.
Third and 1 at the 33-yard line. One thing about the Bears this year, as opposed to last, they're all healthy except for their rookie #1 draft choice of tackle, Chris Williams. And now they give it to a die on a 3rd and 1, and the quarter will end with a first down at the 40-yard line. So at the end of 3, it's Chicago 22, Indianapolis 13. NBC on 41-yard line.
Look at how that Bear defense is pressing the line of scrimmage
all night long. Manning down the left side, and it is Wayne who is out of bounds as he makes the catch. He couldn't get both feet in. Nathan Vasher with the coverage on the play, but just off the mark.
And I think the Colts are thinking the same thing we were thinking, that if they want to be that tight up in the line of scrimmage, and if they want to blitz this much, you have to make them pay for it. And the way you make them pay for it is a deep pass, a big one. They threw it to Reggie Wayne, and it just wasn't complete. He tried one earlier to Marvin Harrison. Reggie Wayne was a little close to the sideline on that one.
From the 41, second down and 10.
And then if you don't make them pay for that blitzing, then they just continue to do it.
And that's Wayne. And just before the snap, you saw Wayne, and he almost made that binocular motion to Peyton Manning, which they use with such effectiveness, as if come to me, and they do. And it's a gain out to the 47-yard line.
And again, that puts him in a third and manageable, and with this Colt offense, this is a pretty easy play. Now watch Reggie Wayne right here, Al. Here's what you're talking about. He gives him that binocular look, knowing that guy's going to come, and the safety is way off of him. So he knows that he could run and complete that.
3rd and 4, trips to the right. Manning looking over the middle, now comes back the other way, and that's a Dye who makes the catch, and he's short of the first down at the 50-yard line, and so the Colts will probably be forced to kick it away, down by 9, but at least for the moment they're going to try to line up before Chicago can get set. But the officials are going to stop the clock and spot the ball at the 50-yard line, because you have
Chicago defense ran off the field.
Right, you had an injured player. You had Joseph Adai, and because Adai gets hurt, they have to take a timeout, costing Indianapolis any chance to catch Chicago off guard.
What's this?
That's called.
You know, again, they don't have Adai in there.
Rhodes behind Manning on 4th and 1. And they do snap it, and they give it to Rhodes, and Rhodes will not make it. John and I discussing this in the commercial break, and I think we both agreed it's too early to do this because of this reason. Yeah, if you get stopped, you give them the ball at midfield, and all the momentum right back to Chicago as if it wasn't there anyway.
Right, I was sure that they weren't going to do it because I didn't know it was a good decision, but when they didn't have Joseph Adai in there to run it, I thought there's no way they're going to do that. Good penetration there. That's where it all starts. You have to get that middle block. When your middle gets penetration like that on your center, you don't have a chance in short yardage.
That was a Goodley and Briggs conversion. Now it's Forte taking the ball just inside the 45-yard line, and the rookie out of Tulane with make it 20 carries tonight and 114 yards. 50, of course, on that touchdown romp in the first quarter.
Yeah, and again, they just look like the old Bears, the running game and defense scoring, and that's who they are and what they are. And when they play like that, they're still pretty good.
2nd and 7.
They have out-physicaled the Colts tonight.
To the 40-yard line. And that's Rasheed Davis. And John mentioned that if there was a go-to guy, and Orton mentioned it last night, it was Davis, former Arena League star, was the MVP of the Arena League one year, came in as a defensive back, then been using him as a wide receiver the past couple of years, but he's been hurt, hasn't been that effective, but right now could eventually be the #1 guy.
Right, in Kyle Orton's mind, he's their #1 guy. This is a big defensive play for the Colts. They need to stop here.
3rd and 2. Orton will throw it to Forte, and he'll pick up enough for a first down. A 4-yard gain over the middle, stopped by Freddie Keaho.
I was saying earlier that there's nothing about Matt Forte that looks like a rookie, but even the confidence that the team has in him, that Kyle Orton has in him, that the offensive coordinator Ron Turner has in him. When you need a big play like this and a big situation like that was, you give it to Matt Forte. You can talk about confidence, but when you show it like that, you know that you have something.
From the 36-yard line. Forte again, cutting it back to the left side. And he moves confidently for a gain of 8. And John, the other guy who looks different, granted he has experience because he played 15 games as a rookie in 05 when Grossman got hurt, is Orton, but he looks completely different than he did 3 years ago.
Well, he looks calm, and it's tough to come into an opener on the road and be calm. We're talking about cutting and jump cut. That was a perfect jump cut there by Matt Forte. That first one, he got him going from right to left.
Orton leads him up on 2nd and 2. And Orton will take a timeout here. That'll stop the clock with 10:55 to play in regulation. The Bears looking for an upset. Up by 9.
Next Sunday night on NBC.
Matt Forte, one of the stars tonight for the Chicago Bears. Their defense is starred as well. Bears have just taken a timeout. They have 2 left. Indy has only 1 as we go down toward the end of the period. Right now, 10:55 to play. 2nd and 2 for Chicago. And into traffic. This will be Forte. We were talking about Orton, John. He's matured. I mean, when he came out of Purdue, he loved the nightlife. He's gotten married in the last few months. He loved the nightlife so much there were a lot of unflattering pictures about him that made him sort of infamous on the internet. But in talking to him last night, he has the neck beard as well. But it seems as if he's almost a different person in a way.
And I think he is. I mean, I've always said the best friend of a quarterback is a good running game or a good running back, and he has that tonight. That will give you confidence.
On 3rd and 1, off the play fake, going deep, and it's caught downfield by Desmond Clark, who fumbles the ball out of bounds. It'll be 1st down and goal. Desmond Clark off a big year. Freeney put the pressure on that time. Orton was able to get it away 26 yards on a 3rd and 1.
You see Desmond Clark, he's the inside tight end, and they go play action pass. The Colts are up there thinking that the Bears are just going to run the ball, run the clock out. They go play action pass, and they get Desmond Clark deep. But he is a different guy, and I think when he got the starting position, he realized, okay, now it's mine. I can't foul it up. I have to keep it, and he's ready for it.
Here's Forte. Can't get into the end zone. Inches shy. 2nd and goal.
We talked about the wide receivers and go-to guys, and whether it's Rasheed Davis or Devin Hester, or it's going to be Brandon Lloyd. It's been the tight ends tonight. I mean, all the big plays have been made by the tight end. Desmond Clark just there. Greg Olsen made 2 big plays in the first half.
One of them setting up the field goal that ended the first half. 2nd down and goal now. And they're going to give the ball to the fullback this time, and that's Jason McKee, and he's in for the touchdown. The 5'11", 245-pound McKee takes it in, and Lovie Smith and Ron Turner, the offensive coordinator, with that gutsy 3rd and 1 call. You can see the frustration on Manning's face right now as his team is in a huge hole.
They put Matt Forte out here. Here's McKee here. He's a lead back. Watch these blocks right there. That's going to create the hole for him. He gets Kreutz taking his guy to the inside. Garza takes his guy to the outside, and McKee just runs straight between them.
Gold with the point after. (29-13) Chicago. Yeah, you heard that right. Downtown Indianapolis, state capital of Indiana, as Chicago with a 16-point lead right now. The ball goes down into the hands of Courtney Roby, and the Bear coverage is outstanding again. 8:51 remaining. Desmond Clark on a 3rd and 1, setting up that Bear touchdown. 29-16. Colts down 29-13, a 16-point margin. Start from the 14-yard line. Colts' last 3 drives have started at the 16, the 10, and the 14. So they're pinned again, and Manning will throw it over the middle to Rhodes, and Rhodes will come close to getting a first down. Meanwhile, Adai has a head injury, and we don't know whether he'll come back into the game. He was shaken up, and there he is on the sideline, but they go with Rhodes to start the drive. Meanwhile, Dallas Clark is also in civilian clothes right now, so they have lost him. He's been out since early in the game, playing with a short deck here. 2nd and 1. And make a first down on that last, and the pass is incomplete. It's Agunlaye who forced the issue and knocked Manning to the field turf. 2nd down.
And the Bears have just been playing them in nickel defense now with 5 defensive backs, and that's because when they lost Dallas Clark, when the Colts lost him, then they went to 3 wide receivers as their base offense. So the base defense of the Bears has been nickel.
So there is Clark on the sideline. 2nd down and 10 now. The ball is at the 24-yard line. Manning gets it away, and it's caught by Harrison. They'll be 2 yards short of the first down. Tillman makes the stop, and a big 3rd and 2 coming up.
You know, Tillman's played very well tonight, and so is Nathan Vasher on the other side. They've played a lot of man coverage, and I think that when you play man coverage most of the game against the Colts and Peyton Manning, they usually make you pay for it big time.
Key conversion here for Indianapolis. Under 8 to play. Down by 16. 3rd and the deuce. And the pass caught by Gonzalez, and he has enough for a first down. Needed 2, got 3. Vasher makes the tackle. They'll move the chains.
And that's been the stuff that the Colts have had the most success with tonight are slants. Slants to the outside receiver, slants to the slot, but they need some bigger chunks right now, obviously.
Manning's thrown to 208 yards on 37 throws. To the outside he goes, and those are little chunks right there. Wayne makes the catch.
Look at Peyton Manning. He went over there to talk to Tom Moore, and he wants something else. I'm not exactly sure what he wants, but you know, I think probably what we were just talking about. You know, we got to get some bigger chunks here now, Tom.
Meanwhile, we don't have the strip at the bottom of the screen, and I'm told by Fred Godelli, our producer, it's a problem that emanates from the stadium. So I'll read it off the board for you as much as we can here. 6:49 and ticking down. And on 2nd down and 5, that is caught by Jacob Tammy, the rookie tight end, and he'll move the change, and that'll be a first down up at the 47-yard line with 6:42 to play.
Yeah, Jacob Tammy does a lot of the same type of things that Dallas Clark does. You know, can play in the slot, can play tight end, more of a receiver type tight end than a blocking type tight end.
At the 47-yard line now. Rhodes repositions. Manning out of the gun. Here comes the rush. They get it off to Harrison. He gets a block from Wayne, but only enough to spring him for another yard or so. Good coverage here. Alex Brown, and then Tillman finishes him off, and they'll spot the ball at the 50.
Ineligible downfield, number 74 offense, 5-yard penalty. First down.
And then move it back. Charlie Johnson ineligible downfield, number 74.
You know, the whole thing that the Bears have done tonight, I always talk about pressing the line of scrimmage, but they had Brian Urlacher up in this gap all night. I mean, you take Urlacher where he is on a rookie center, and that has been a big, big problem for this Colt offense.
And in a way, it's gone a little unnoticed because Urlacher's a name we haven't mentioned that much tonight, but he's been very effective clogging it up inside. 1st and 15. And to the outside, here's Wayne, and Wayne will get bumped out of bounds by Vasher's forearm up at the 49-yard line.
But what they do, and you just saw it on that last play, it's been a pretty big problem. They put both of them in the A gap.
After the play, personal foul on the defense. Headbutt. The down will count. 2nd down, 15-yard penalty.
Oh. Very costly. He didn't announce the number.
And a 1st down, Indianapolis.
Ooh, that is a big play.
Yeah, I mean, they're picking up these little gains in dribs and drabs, and then all of a sudden, it's a Gunley, I think, who was called on with a headbutt.
Gunley's 93, right there, yep. Those are the types of things that drive coaches crazy. I'm sure what Lovie Smith would say, right, we didn't need that.
At all. From the 36. Manning under pressure, and he's going to get sacked from behind by Alex Brown. Back to the 43-yard line. A 7-yard sack by Brown.
Alex Brown came from the backside of Peyton Manning. I think he felt a little pressure to the inside. Watch Alex Brown here. He just pushes Tony Hugo right back into Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning started to try to get out to the right side, and Alex Brown caught him from behind.
5 minutes to play in regulation. 2nd and 17. And that's caught by Gonzalez, and Gonzalez is out of bounds at the 41-yard line, and that's going to set up a 3rd and long, and a very key 3rd and long. It's still a 2-possession game. I mean, it's 16 points, but it seems like a lot more right now because Chicago's been dominant.
Yeah, they've been dominant. They've been physical, and they've really controlled the line of scrimmage. But the other places they control is the outside wide receivers. They control those guys all night, too.
And 3rd and 15, Manning has to check it down to Rhodes. Rhodes takes it to the 33, and they're going to have to go for it on 4th down here because the clock is ticking down, and they only have 1 timeout left plus the 2-minute warning.
So they can get a 1st down here, then they can take a shot.
4th and 7. Have to get to the 26-yard line. Manning stepping away from pressure. And it's incomplete. It's thrown a little low, intended for Gian Robinson, the guy who's replacing Clark at tight end. Peyton shaking his head as he comes off the field. Chicago has the ball and a 16-point lead. The Chicago Bears, not a very good preseason. A lot of changes, coming off a 7-9 last place finish in the NFC North, but right now in control of the game, up by 16. They'll take as much time as they can off the clock, and Indianapolis can stop it only once, plus the 2-minute warning. This is Kevin Jones. And John, as we look at the Bears offensive leaders tonight and what they have done, lining the stars, and there's Forte with that big night, and Clark with a couple of big catches. Orton with efficient numbers. And you know, John, we do so many games, and you come in and you get a feeling for a game, and you think, you know, Indianapolis is going to open up a new stadium, and Peyton's going to come back and play well enough, and they were a much better team last year than Chicago was.
And the Colts always start off strong. They start good in September and October.
Get a flag down here for encroachment, plus a free play, and Kevin Jones will go to the outside.
Offside.
And pick up a 1st down.
68 at the snap. Be declined. Result of the play. 1st down.
And then, you know, it's kind of funny. You sit there and you watch and listened to the guys last night. And the Colts haven't lost a game in September, October since they lost to Kansas City in October on Halloween Day in 04. But that figures to go down the drain tonight. And we're sitting there with Lovie Smith and Tom Orton and Urlacher yesterday, and it's not as if they were exuding confidence. Jones stopped at the line of scrimmage, but you got the feeling that, hey, you know what? Maybe we're not seeing something that they're seeing. Either that or they're whistling in the dark.
Well, they were pulling a lot of confidence from the Super Bowl game of a couple years ago that Lovie Smith thought that they could have won that game, should have won that game, if they could just stop the run. They couldn't stop the Colts' run, so they came into this game saying they're going to press the line of scrimmage, they're going to tackle well, and they're going to stop the run. And what did the Colts run for? Like 45 yards.
Yeah.
And they did it. And I think this was a heck of a coaching job by the Bears. And I think they had a great plan offensively. I think they had a great plan defensively.
Here's Jones, and that'll be a first down. Lovie Smith, one of the things he also said was, hey, the pupil has to win at some point, and tonight's going to be that point.
Yeah, and there's still something to being physical. We can talk about, quarterback here, wide receiver here, running back here, but just going in there, and this is a very physical game. It's a tough game. And if you play it more physical and tougher than the other guy, a lot of times you can win that way. And that's a feeling that I have for the Bears tonight.
At the 43, final play before the 2-minute warning. Jones wrapped up there. 2 minutes to play here in Indianapolis. The Chicago Bears have come into town and stunned the Colts 29-13. Some of the headlines, if you went back a couple of months and thought about opening weekend, Manning and the Colts lose to the Bears big. Brady hurt and maybe out for the season, we don't know. And Brett Favre leads Jets to victory.
Where'd those things come from?
Where'd any of that come from? 2nd and 14, and Jones gets upended here. And Indy will take its final timeout. Sunday Night Football being brought to you by the new Hyundai Genesis. It all starts with this. By Wendy's, it's way. There's a flag. Jones, the ball carrier.
Holding. Number 57 offense. That penalty's declined. 4th down.
John Parry calling it on Krutz. Special day today, by the way, on September 7th. If you go back 100 years, the 100th birthday, 100th anniversary of the birth of Paul Brown. Without question, one of the most instrumental figures in the history of the NFL. Some people would rank him as number 1.
Right, as an innovator. I mean, most of the things that coaches do today are a big part of the things that coaches do today. Just like full-time coaches, playbooks, players' meetings, films, all those things were started by Paul Brown.
Maynard to punt. Ratliff to run it back.
Colts have to come on a big-time punt block here.
And away they go. But Maynard gets it away. And Ratliff will fair catch it at the 18-yard line. So without a timeout at their benefit, a minute and 40 to play. Time to put somebody up. That's a pretty good-looking horse trailer. John, you realize where we've come with this thing?
It's too fancy, I think. I think we got to get back and dirty it up a little.
We gave Plaxico Burress. We had to get off the air for the convention the other night, but we gave the Horse Trailer Player of the Game award to Plaxico Burress. Game 1. And tonight,
are we both going to get a vote right here?
What do you think? We should, yeah. Who do you like? I know who I like.
I like Matt Forte. I mean, I thought that he was the glue that really held that whole offense together. Do you like someone else?
Nope, unanimous. I was hoping you'd say that.
Okay,
I mean, the defense was great, but he had that 50-yard run. Manning will now throw it over the middle, and it is incomplete because coming in is Mike Brown to whack it away from Reggie Wayne.
You know, we didn't hear a lot of Mike Brown's name tonight because he's been playing that deep safety position. You know, he was one of those, tough safeties that they used to bring up, and Lovie Smith said last night, every time we bring him up close to the line of scrimmage where he likes to play, that's where he got hurt all the time. So he said, we're not going to do it anymore. And for most of the game tonight, Mike Brown has been back here in that deep safety position.
2nd and 10. Dump it off underneath to Rhodes. And then he thread his way up to the 23-yard line. Alex Brown got into Peyton on that pass. And Peyton has taken a lot of contact tonight.
Yeah, he said he wanted to get that first whack in the head, and I think he's probably had enough tonight because this Bear defense for most of this game put a lot of pressure on him.
Whacked out. Be a first down. To the 31-yard line goes Reggie Wayne. We're under a minute to play in the 4th.
Yeah, and I don't know that they have to do this anymore.
Colts 56 straight weeks, and that would figure considering how they played through the years. And we mentioned that long winning streak over 3 seasons in September and October, but with Tennessee winning, the Tennessee Titans for the moment will be in first place in the AFC South.
I'm not exactly sure what they're getting out of this.
No, me neither.
I mean, I don't think they need this. I mean, Peyton Manning getting knocked down here, getting shots at this one's over.
Mark Anderson came in on that one. So for Manning tonight, you look at the numbers, 258 yards. You figure, okay, that's pretty good. But then you always have to divide that by pass attempts. And the number of pass attempts is 48. So for Manning and unmanning like 0.2 yards or so.
I think the big thing for the Colts and Peyton Manning is that he got through it and got healthy. And will it be okay tomorrow? Will he be okay Tuesday, Wednesday? You're coming back to practice and getting ready. I think that's a big thing. And if those answers are yes, then the Colts are going to be okay.
And the game ends on Mike Hart's first carry of his career, the rookie out of Michigan, with one more play now. Manning throwing underneath, and the pass is incomplete, and now it is officially over. So the Chicago Bears have come into Indianapolis and ruined the party at brand new Lucas Oil Stadium. Tony Dungy congratulating Lovie Smith. The Bears go to Carolina next week. And it's the Wendy's post-game report that comes up on the other side of this break. These messages from your local NBC station.
Everyone predicted the Bears go to Indy over a touchdown underdog and win it going away as they christen Lucas Oil Stadium with a Colts loss. Matt Forte with the best opening game performance by a running back in Bears history. He rushed for 123 yards and a touchdown. The Bears only had 2 100-yard-plus efforts last season from the running backs. Lance Briggs, a 21-yard fumble recovery for a touchdown. It wasn't Super Bowl 42, but a nice way to start this season. 29-13 is your final. With our apologies to both first-place baseball teams.
You could see his footwork was a little bit of an issue for Peyton Manning, as he gets, coming no reps in the preseason at all and just thrown right into the fire. One, the Bears were up for the challenge. I think they knew that they were primed and poised to beat the Indianapolis Colts because when you talk about 3 new interior offensive linemen plus a quarterback, if you can get him off the midline mark, he's going to be inaccurate with the ball. So great game plan by the Bears, and they took advantage of Peyton Manning today.
Our Cubs postgame live analyst, Dan Plesac, he's the conductor of the Big Blue Train. Are you ready to throw on the conductor's hat and be the conductor for the Big Orange Train?
I'm always ready.
All right. Hey, as always, we want to hear from you. Send us your comments as we get the pulse of Bears fans out there. You got to be in a good mood tonight. You'll see some of them at the bottom of our sports ticker. Keep the comments short, keep them clean. You can email the show at Bears PGL at ComcastSportsNet.com. We'll answer as many emails as we can over the next 90 minutes. But let's get things going with our opening kickoff. And as always, we begin with our lead blocker, Dan Jiggins. Jim, what do you have for us?
My comment tonight is sticking to the script. When you talk about how the Bears win football games, and we talked about this year after year under Lovie Smith, number one, be able to run the football. They did that. They got off the bus running the football tonight. The other thing is you've got to stop the run defensively. The Colts come out and only get 46 yards on the ground, something that didn't happen in the Super Bowl when these two teams met. And the third thing is be sound in the kicking game. Except for Devin Hester's, taking that ball, trying to run it out of the end zone, everything else was pretty much sound.
What do you have for us, Jim?
Well, for me, it was just, hey, get excited, Bears fans, because when you look at it, that was exciting Bear football. One, a team that came out physically ready to play, really sticking it to the Indianapolis Colts, impressed the issue. And I think that's where the Bears are. You can tell they're a team that has taken a step forward. So I think Bears fans have a lot to be excited about.
Now, there was a lot of question marks in the preseason about the Bears' defense.
No doubt.
But I didn't have worries. I didn't have any doubts that they would come through. You know, you can't show everything in the preseason about what you're going to do in the regular season. And today we saw a completely different defensive unit.
Timeout. In the preseason, they weren't tackling. They weren't doing a lot of things.
What were they doing this
I understand
game?
the looks.
What happened this game?
I understand the looks.
Were totally different.
The looks were totally different. Was wrapping people up.
But the looks were totally different.
For the
it's
most
a
part, yes.
high-powered offense, and they minimized them.
Yes, they
which
did.
is really big.
Yes, they
Created
did.
turnovers, stopped them on third down.
Okay.
Safety.
Let's go. Safety. Thank you.
I will say this. I will say the different looks, both offensively and defensively tonight, that is the best game calling I've seen coaching-wise from this Bears coaching staff under
Pat,
Lovie's tenure.
You understand now my frustration from a couple of years ago when we're sitting down in Miami getting rained on and the Bears lost the Super Bowl. If they had done then what they did tonight, they would have had another Super Bowl.
But, my friend, they did not have Mr. Forte.
Thomas Jones was capable of running
Two
the football.
totally different game plans. One, Jeff Saturday was a starting center then. That wasn't the same guy in their starting today. That was the difference for the Chicago Bears in their defense. You saw the Bears, a lot of A-gap pressures, really putting a lot of pressure on a young interior offensive line. To me, that was the difference.
No, see, I'm looking at it from an offensive perspective, though. I'm saying if they would have run the football like they did, and I think the defense is pretty much the same. If they'd have run the football like they did tonight, they would have been in great shape. They just stopped running the football.
Matt Forte should have come out a year early then.
A couple of years
Another
early.
big thing also is
turnovers.
Turnovers are real big, and they didn't complete any turnovers.
Briggs gets, picks up the fumble, runs it back in for a touchdown. Right. Again, the defense, puts points on the board. It's another part of that script that they have to win.
Let's break down Forte's effort tonight. First rookie to start since Walter Payton back in 1975. Became the fifth rookie in NFL history with a touchdown of 50 yards or more in their first NFL quarter. Taking a look at him in the first half, he reaches the century mark in the first half alone. Last year, the Bears only had two 100-yard performances from the running backs. In the second half, he carried it for 2.5 yards per carry. His long was 8 yards. But I think a lot of the question was, would the guys up front be able to block for him? And Jim, from what you saw from this offensive line that, again, doesn't have Chris Williams in it. We had to move on from that. They did a good job run blocking.
Absolutely. I think, unlike Indianapolis, when you think of the Bears, at least there's a little bit of continuity on the offensive line here for the Bears. Sure, first start for Josh Beekman at the left guard position, but I thought John St. Clair actually held up pretty well against Dwight Freeney. But the bottom line is, here's the difference between Matt Forte and one plotter and Cedric Benson. He attacks the line of scrimmage. And you could see him improve as the game went on, because earlier in the game, the Bears run a lot of lead draw, didn't have the vision to cut it backside. Later in the game, you saw it, gets the big run, sees the vision in backside, and attacks the line of scrimmage. Really only two screw-ups by young Matt Forte. Chip block on Dwight Freeney. Hey, and we know for a young back it's tough to get the protections down, but your one goal is to seek and destroy. That's one where he could have really lit him up.
I think they should go back to letting the backs cut the defensive linemen. I mean, that's a nice way to get them down on the ground. It's a beautiful thing.
And I like how patient he was also. Forte was very patient.
Difference is this guy, when he makes moves going up the field, you see him making his moves. He's gaining yardage. He's not running side to side. He's making that move, making people miss, but he's getting up the field. And that's something that's so important now. The other thing you're going to be able to see out of him after watching him, early on in the season in the rookie camps and whatnot, is is this is also a guy that can get out of the backfield and catch the football as well. And that's another element that I'm sure they're waiting to add.
And to me, this kind of just magnified the mistake that Cedric Benson was, because, you know, you could say it's pretty much the same offensive line as last year.
There's no way you can hold those blocks forever. And with Cedric Benson, I mean, give me a sundial. Give me something that's going to time it before he gets to the hole.
Calendar.
I mean, Matt Forte attacks the hole. And you know, as an offensive lineman, Jigs, those guys, in those meetings tomorrow, they're going to be high-fiving young little Matt Forte, because he did a great job tonight.
And Kevin Jones is a nice compliment to come in. I mean, you know, a lot of people thought Adrian Peterson was going to be in this mix, but realistically, as we go forward, Matt Forte has shown us everything initially in his career that he's able to carry the block and be a one-back. And Kevin Jones, as he continues to get healthy, Zoom, I think he's going to be a nice compliment to Forte.
Yeah, he's definitely a strong guy. You know, he's a physical guy. He knows how to run with the football. He's a savvy veteran. You know, he does all the necessary things.
One thing you always have to keep in mind, though, and that's always the prospect of somebody getting nicked up a little bit. Now, we saw Bob Sanders tonight just kind of teed off on Forte.
Welcome.
Welcome to the NFL. So that's why, you know, when you look at a guy like Adrian Peterson, it's always good to have guys like that around. But the key thing was Matt Forte, 5.3 yards per carry.
Well, let's talk about activations before the game. Bears activating 4 backs for this game says a lot about Adrian Peterson and Garrett Wolf in special teams, but for what Jiggs just alluded to, somebody gets nicked up. Garrett Wolf can provide a role. Adrian Peterson, we know what he can do. So that's nice to have all your cards on the table in a game in case something like that happens.
I'm still not quite sure what Garrett Wolf can do, but I'm sure someday I'll be able to figure that one out.
What do you think of our offensive coordinator now? Is he a genius? Or
well, I won't say he's a genius.
You run the football, you're a genius.
I'll tell you what, he had some nice wrinkles. I liked seeing the tight ends used out on the edges at times. And I'll tell you what, we talk about recipe for this particular team, this team you have right now, to have success in the National Football League. You got to get the great defense. They got it tonight. You got to get turnovers on that defense. They got it tonight. They got to get the running game. We got it tonight. And a passing game that doesn't screw it up.
That's right.
Well, you know, I know
up.
Kyle kind of bristles at that comment about him managing the game well, but that's really what he does, and he does it very well. He doesn't make that mistake that takes you out of a football game, and as a result, well, the numbers, you know, again, it's not going to bowl you over, but you know what? Got the job done, and that's the significant thing. And look at that quarterback rating in that second half. That's when you have to win the ball game, and that's exactly what he did. He put it on lockdown and just cruised to a win.
0 INTs.
Jim, what'd you think of KO's performance?
I love the kid. You know, I think I've always said this. He's a very heady ball player coming from Joe Tiller's system out of Purdue, but he's everything that you want in a quarterback. Reminds me of another guy who used to line up in blue and orange. I thought he used to think I could manage a game, but Kyle is sharp. He's everything that they want because what has he done? He stabilized the position here. And that's what needed to happen for the Chicago Bears.
You could have waited, man. I was going to pay you the compliment. You know, you could have held over. Just
pat me on the back right now, Jim.
Kyle Orton just addressed the media at Lucas Oil Stadium. Let's listen in on U.S. Cellular Bears postgame live.
After the opening snap for you, did everything seem to settle down, or what happened on that first one?
Yeah, it was loud. You know, it was loud, and I don't know exactly what happened, but obviously have to get the snap. That's on me. And, you know, it didn't happen. We didn't have any issues the rest of the game, and don't see us having any issues from here on out.
I know you guys believe this was possible. Were you all surprised at the level of dominance you guys showed?
Well, we really ran the football on them. I mean, we're a running football team, and anytime, I don't know any numbers, but it just seemed, you know, we had to be close to 200 yards rushing the football. So anytime we do that, control the clock, and make key plays in the passing game, we're going to be right there. Defense played great. Special teams played great. And we really ran the football. So that's how we're going to win games. We're a three-phase football team, and it was a total team effort.
It seemed like your biggest pass plays were all on third down. Can you talk about the way you guys as a team came through so many times on third down?
Yeah, I mean, it's big for us to convert crucial third downs. They have a great defensive line. It caused us a lot of issues in the pass game. So we obviously, and we run the ball so well. So we were sticking with the run game. And then when we had to make, you know, key third down plays, we threw the ball, and the guys up front did a great job protecting, and the receivers did a great job catching the ball.
What did you think of Matt Forte?
Unbelievable job for his first game. I mean, he made a cut going to the right and then back to the left. That's a big league. So he played great. Didn't seem phased at all. Did a great job of. I think the best thing that he does is when the play's not there, he really, you know, gets forward and gets 2 to 3 yards, and that's big in this offense.
What about spreading the ball out like you did? You got, I think, almost everyone involved.
Yeah, I think we did, and that's the way we're going to have to do it in the passing game. Going to have to use multiple formations. That's one of our strengths with 2 tight ends. Be able to spread them out, multiple formations, get the matchups how we want it, and hopefully convert.
What does starting a season like this, pulling an upset like this, mean to the confidence of the entire team?
Well, we're a confident football team. I don't think a lot of people, obviously outside of us, are confident, but we have we had 2 tough games to start off on the road, and had to get to get the first one is huge. But enjoy this one tonight. We got a lot of work to do. We got a lot of room to get better, and get back to work next week.
So Kyle Orton leads the Bears to the victory in the season opener in Indianapolis. 7 different receivers. Forte, the leading receiver, with 3 catches. Des Clark, Greg Olsen, Brandon Lloyd, Rasheed Davis had 2 catches. Hester and Booker with 1 apiece. If you look at that with Hester and Booker, 2 guys that, believed to be, one of the key cogs in the passing attack, do you think you're still trying to find this role for Devin Hester? I mean, obviously the tight end is the best part of this receiving game for the Bears.
Yeah, I think so. Well, it served its purpose today because here Jiggs and I just diagnosed, ran a lot of lead draw today. What do you want out on the outside? Bigger blockers. So, hence that's probably why Ron Turner went to those guys, at least detached from the tight end position when you think about how they lined up in the passing game. Probably the best play of the game, and that's why we drafted Greg Olsen when you think about Jerry Angelo. Right before half, they get the ball, they go a 1-1 robber, which is basically man coverage on the outside, and the safety, who was Bob Sanders, comes up in the box right in the linebacker position. He diagnoses one-on-one, goes to the outside for Greg Olsen. That's why he was drafted. That's a speedy linebacker for Indy, and Freddie Kiehu. And Greg Olsen beat him like a drum.
The guy's got down-the-field speed. He's got also the ability. They put him in the backfield tonight, and we were calling him a stacked eye. Sure. And then all of a sudden you see him lead blocking off out of the I formation. So the tight ends give them a lot of flexibility in terms of what they want to do offensively. The one element, and again, you start to build on some things that, the one thing I'm looking for now is to see how they're going to incorporate the running backs in this passing game, because really tonight the running backs really weren't, in a big part of the passing game.
I'd like to see more screens. I really believe in screens, and I think that, they have the backs to run screens. Garrett Wolf, Forte, all these guys are capable to run some screens.
As a defense, what did an offense have to do in order to be effective running screens against your defense? What else did they have to do to set up the screen? Because a screen is something that you actually have to set up.
Right, I would say a little bit of misdirection, a little bit of bootlegs and draws and things like that, and just get the defense basically off balance. Just throw it back on them.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'll tend to agree with Jerry. Also, like I said, the lead draw today, because what do we worry about Indianapolis Colts? It's Dwight Freeney getting upfield. It's Mathis getting upfield. So you draw those guys in, you dump it off. Good learning experience for Matt Forte, because Bob Sanders tattooed him, and that was his welcome to the NFL moment. That's something he can learn from, something he can draw from. But overall, that timing was there. But that's what they had to do to slow down that Indy pass rush, was the lead draw and the screen passes, and the 2 that they hit were very effective tonight.
Forte's 50-yard touchdown run back in the first quarter, the longest, certainly in his career, young career, 1 game old. But Cedric Benson, in 3 seasons, never had a 50-yard carry, period, not let alone being a touchdown.
Well, Seattle,
I think we saw something.
40-yarder, but
yeah, he had a long one.
43.
43.
It wasn't 50, though.
Yeah, but the point, too, is not only he's got the speed. He's got the speed. He's got it all. It's a nice compliment that he has.
That's exactly right. And the other thing is, you talk about attacking with an offense. That's exactly what he does. Offensive linemen are going to love this guy because he's making yardage when you're throwing your blocks. What you hate is a guy that spends too much time along the line of scrimmage or in the backfield trying to decide what to do.
What did we repeatedly say last year, Jerry? When you got a running back coming at you on the second level, and that's what Cedric Benson couldn't do, is get to the second level. You got to make a guy miss. What did Matt Forte do tonight? On the first big play that he ran, he makes Antoine Bethea miss. Boom, there it is for a touchdown.
Potential big plays. And also he has good feet. I mean, he's really nimble. He had incorporated a little bit of spin move, and he was able to basically press, and then skip back and then accelerate.
What do you think about Kevin Jones and how much they're going to get out of him this year? Let's say if he stays healthy, how much can he help this whole equation?
I personally, he's going to get, think of Donovan McNabb last year for Philadelphia. He got healthier as the year went on. That's what I expect for Kevin Jones. He'll get healthier, his knee will get get stronger, and he will provide a role. He will be a better running back. This guy is a workout warrior.
Yes, he is.
He works extremely hard, so expect big things from him if Matt Forte were to go down due to injury.
Lovie Smith takes care of his old mentor, Tony Dungy, in the season opener. Lovie addressed the media just a short time ago at Lucas Oil Stadium. Let's go to Indy.
That's the way you want to start off your football season. You know, going into the game, we wanted to establish the run on the offensive side of the ball. We were able to do that. Kyle Larden did a great job of making the plays, just directing the offense. How about Matt Forte, first game out? We've seen flashes of that through the preseason, throughout training camp, but it's good to see it out on the football field. But the offensive line did a super job of opening up the holes for all of our running backs to be able to push the pile back. Defensive side of the ball, you know, the defense hasn't played as well through the preseason. And if you really look at the preseason, you really can't look at the preseason and see exactly what you have. You have to get to the first game. I think they really stood up. It's the first time we've been healthy all at the same time, seemed like. First goal is a score. That score by the defense was big, but throughout, they played pretty hard the entire time. I mean, that's what we're used to seeing from them. Special team-wise, we did some good things, made a couple mistakes. We had the normal first game mistakes that you normally have. But overall, of course, we're pleased. It's huge getting a win on the road like that. Injury-wise, we're in pretty good shape. Nothing serious came out of the game. I'll take your question.
Well, Kyle did a good job of starting the ball out. Was that the plan going in, or is that just how it developed tonight?
Well, it's kind of the plan. You know, we've heard about how we don't have a one receiver, so we had to spread it out to all of them, you know. But you know, we do have a lot of weapons, from Des Clark to Greg Olson to all of our receivers. Thought Ron did a great job of getting the ball to the running backs. Again, just a good job by them.
Lovie, though it's early, what can a win like this do for your football team, especially in this kind of situation?
I mean, it's one win. I mean, you don't win championships, the first quarter of the season, but you still would like to get a lead. And of course, we like being 1-0 right now instead of 0-1. But as much as anything, it's the way we played and how we were able to win the football game. But we'll enjoy this tonight, but we realize we have another big game coming up against Carolina next week.
Lovie, can you talk about the game plan on defense to go with the nickel package almost the whole game with the 6 and 7 men on the line?
Well, Dallas Clark, you know, you can look at him a couple different ways. He has the athletic ability of a receiver. He's not, you know, when you think of him, you don't think about him as being an inline blocker. So that allowed us to do that. We just looked at it as a 3-receiver set, which allowed us to, you know, put another defensive back out on the football field. Brandon McGowan and Danielle Manning both played the nickel and did some good things.
Seems like Matt Forte really gives you something special that he can make that first guy miss.
He can. He has excellent speed after he gets out in the open, but he has that. He has a knack for making you miss. He has quick feet, catch the ball out of the backfield. He's just been a real pro since he's been here, and it'll be fun to watch him grow.
How important was it just that the offense seemed to pick up so many third downs and keep the chains moving?
Very big. I mean, you look at most games, I mean, the third down conversions, of course, is huge on both sides of the ball. We put a big emphasis on that. But I mean, that's why you have to take your hat off, you know, to our offense for, you know, because the Colts play hard every down. They have excellent pass rushers. They have good coverage guys, so it's hard to convert against them.
The defense in preseason, what it was tonight, two very different units. How do you play?
Well, I don't know exactly how to answer that, David. I mean, I've said all along, you get to your first game to see where you are. Preseason, they don't count. So what else can I say? You want to go out and practice hard every game. But what you do, behind the scenes, you're trying to do everything you can to get ready for this first game. It's kind of as simple as that. So preseason, I don't know how much you get from it, whether you're 1-3, 4-0, or 0-4. So.
Is Peanut as good as you've seen in stripping the ball and making that play because he does it over and over again?
Yes, I can definitely say that. I mean, it's easy for me to comment on that. Peanut Tillman does it every day in practice. The entire time I've been here with him, he has a knack for doing that. And is not by chance. I mean, that wasn't a turnover. I mean, that was a takeaway. And we'll need a lot of plays like that throughout the year. Again, one game, we're excited about it, but nothing more than one game. And we have next week's game is a lot bigger than this one. Thank you.
Come on, Lovey, give me a fist pump. You just knocked off Indy in their new building. Right.
Big game, big win, right out of the box.
Credit the head coach. He stays the same way, win, lose, or draw. 29-13 the final. Here are your report cards on the coaching staff. BAA. Your thoughts, Jigs, on the play calling on both sides of the ledger?
Number one, on the offensive side, I thought the play calling was excellent today. And again, it goes back to, the thing I always talk about is setting. You set the game plan up to run the football. You run it down their throats. That leads to your play action. You saw the play action today be very effective, and that's why Kyle Orton's numbers look as good as they do. And then the other thing is, on the defensive side, they gave him enough looks inside where you saw the linebackers jumping in and out of those gaps. Those three young guys inside on that Colts line did not know what was coming. And so all of a sudden now you have to make all these switches, and then Peyton's in back here, audibling to another play, and you don't know what to do. And that was, I think, an excellent game plan for these guys.
How about the offensive play calling?
Yeah, it was great. Well, first, I think you made a great point there. For the Bears, to match the intensity of the emotion of the Lucas Oil Stadium. That's a big thing. They're kicking off a new season. It's Tony Dungy's last year. It's a new stadium.
Sunday Night Football.
This is as big as it gets. So here right away, the Bears turning back. They only get a field goal. Indy, when you think about their opening drive, Bears match it, go down, and what do we say on the road? You got to get up early. Bears are up early, 7-3. So it took the crowd out of the game. So that alone is huge for the Chicago Bears. Offensively, awesome. What can I tell you, Pat? I mean, they helped out John St. Clair enough in the pass game. Sure, there were still pressures on Kyle Orton, but it was just enough time with the draws, the screens that we talk about, slowing down the rush, and then you got some big returns in the run game. That was power football, and that's what the Bears needed.
You had to like, too, what this defense did early on. It didn't let it spiral out of control. Right. It was that bend but don't break defense.
It forced them to kick field goals.
Yeah,
that was the key.
That's right.
Normally, what are you used to seeing? Peyton Manning
and then
into the end zone,
it starts that roll, and everybody begins to doubt themselves, and then it spirals out of control. But, they held them in it.
In the red zone, they did a real good job, but I like the fact that they were getting up there and really pressing the issue that they were going to blitz. I mean, this is Chicago Bears defense right here.
You saw the linebackers on the line of scrimmage, then all of a sudden they're shooting out and getting into the zone.
That's right.
And again, with an offensive line in the backfield, these guys are concerned about where these people are coming from. So they're looking around. They don't quite know where somebody's going to be hitting them. All of a sudden now it screws up the pass.
What do we hear? Tampa 2, Tampa 2, Tampa 2. That was not Tampa 2
tonight.
That was a lot of blitz. That was a lot of man coverage. And guess what? Those are two Pro Bowlers when you think of Reggie Wayne and Marvin Harrison. So excellent job all the way around.
Coming up, William Jackson is in Indianapolis. He'll have player reaction from outside that Bears locker room. We invite you to get interactive as well. We got that O-line. Would you like to see another guy brought in a little bit because it's a little thin?
Yeah, you need some more depth on that offensive line because you start to think about, what happens in case? And the question is now what happens in case they have an injury at the tackle position? That means that Kurt Barton, who's a rookie out of Ohio State, would be the guy that's elevated to a starting position. And I'm not sure, and especially in that left tackle situation, you look at that and go, yeah, you'd like to see a guy with a little bit more veteran experience come in as well.
Brandon Lloyd had 2 catches for 26 yards, and our William Jackson spoke with Brandon Lloyd just moments ago.
All right, thanks, guys. Here with Brandon Lloyd as the Bears get a huge win. A lot of naysayers said you guys would come in. It wouldn't happen. Came in here dominant on all phases and all phases of the ball. Huh?
Well, we had a great week. We had a lot of confidence coming into this game. We had a great week. We felt like the coaches had us prepared for this game, and we came out there and the coaches called calls. We had confidence in them, and they worked. That's kind of the way it works. The coaches call a call. It takes all 11 guys believing in that play and to make it work, and it was working for us tonight.
No doubt about it. Talk about Kyle too and his ability to spread the ball around so nicely to get everybody involved in the game.
Well, Kyle's he's a perfect quarterback for the West Coast offense because he takes what's given to him, and that's the way way it works. You know, it's you get that running game going and get it working, and then you kind of take what's given to you in the pass game, and he did that. Took a couple shots deep, landed one to Dez. We didn't hook up deep, but you know he's taking what's given to him, and that's the only way it works.
Okay, when you talk about the running game too, Matt Forte, quite an outing.
Mm-hmm, yeah, I mean, I think I can speak for everybody and say that we're really proud of him out there, you know, because he came up and stepped up on this big stage, and you know it was huge, you know, it's huge, and we're really proud of him.
Okay. Everybody makes decisions in life. Was it one of the best decisions you made to decide to come and sign with the Bears, do you think?
Well, I mean, that was Coach Turner's decision, and that was, you know, Coach Levy's decision to have me on the team. So, you know, it's a long road, and it was a great start, but we still have a long way to go.
Okay, final question. Does it do a lot for a team to come into a place of environment like Indianapolis Colts opening up a brand new stadium and to get a victory like you guys did?
Well, it's big time. It's the stage. You know, it's kind of the, you know, having us here for the opening game and, you know, and all the hoopla. And then at the same time, it's, you know, you got to steal those games on the road. You know, they do not come easy, and we got to protect our house. I mean, that's the only way. That's the only way we're going to be in Tampa and to complete our goal, which we all want. That's the only way to do it, is to steal them games on the road and protect our house.
Okay, great start tonight. Brandon Lloyd. I appreciate it, man. Okay, let's go back to you guys in the studio.
All right, William, thank you very much. Taking a look at the receivers. Brandon Lloyd, 2 catches in his inaugural performance with the Orange and Blue. Rasheed Davis, who I think is going to play a vital role in this passing game when it's all said and done. That's a guy that you're earmarking, right?
Yeah, Rasheed Davis is my guy. I mean, this guy can do it all. And people underestimate how fast he is and how well he catches the ball, but this guy right here is very shifty. He knows what to do, and he finds the end zone when you're throwing the ball.
Can he dress, though? Can he dress? Because
he assured me today that he was going to step it up.
Really?
You know, with the big game knot.
The big game knot.
The big game knot.
He's got a new contract. He can afford it.
That's exactly right.
We have not talked enough about the Bears' defense on this night. Wale Agulia with the great safety stop there on Joseph Adai. But that was set up on the play before that, where we saw Marcus Harrison. The Harrison in the building that had a really, really good ball game.
Yeah,
he was wearing the orange and blue.
You know, and he was coming. He's playing at defensive end too when he made the play. So you look at a kid like this, and again, you go back throughout the preseason, you watched him. So well, this is a kid that might be able to do some things. He's a 3rd-round pick for the Bears, and I like him because again, he's one of those guys that pressures up the field and kind of snaps it down, and that's exactly what he did on the play where I think he tackled a die at the 2-yard line, I believe, and then that set up later on. It set up, or it was a sack.
It was a sack. I think it was a sack.
Well, and that was he's going against a veteran player, Ryan Diem, and just physically bowled him over. So for me, it had to be Dusty Dvorak. He had to be a force at the one technique. He was unlike get the one-on-ones on the outside that Jiggs is talking about. That way Agulia can come inside and make some plays.
Not a lot of Tommy Harris on the field tonight, right? I mean, we didn't see him a lot. That is troublesome. I mean, I know this is one game and we got to slow a roll a little bit here, but when you consider not having that Pro Bowler out there, we're not sure where that knee is at. And that's a little bit of a trouble spot.
That was one of the things that you always look for, you know, in the defense, this Bear defense, is pressure up the middle. And really, you know, a couple of times you mentioned Dusty Dvorak got some pressure up there, but Tom is usually the guy who's bringing that every play. And yeah, it really hurts when he's not in there because that's a key element in that defensive front.
But I tell you what, they did a great, fantastic job stopping the run.
Yeah,
as a defense, you got to stop the run in the NFL to win ball games.
You make them one-dimensional, they become like a lot of other teams.
That's right.
But that's the one thing you absolutely have to do is you have to make them throw the football, and then, you know, it takes up a lot of time sometimes. You saw Peyton in that first drive. They seemed like they had the ball forever, didn't it?
Forever.
And then all of a sudden they get, what, 3 points out of it?
I want to get into the secondary. I want to get into Peanut Tillman's strip coming up a little bit. Let's get back out to Indianapolis. And our William Jackson caught up with Rasheed Davis just a short time ago. Apparently it is very sunny in Indianapolis tonight.
All right, thanks, guys. Here with Rasheed Davis. And Rasheed, a lot of people said you guys would come in here, wouldn't be able to get it done with this click, that click. Seemed like everything clicked.
We came out here, we were always confident in what we were going to be able to do. Like I said, when someone asked me earlier during training camp, what are you going to expect? What do you expect from the team and all of that? I told you I expect this to be exciting, you know, and be able to do a lot of things, and we did. We came out and did what we wanted to do tonight.
Was there any point in the game when you said this is the Bears team I thought we would be?
When we stepped onto the field. You know what I mean? This is the Bears team that I thought we would be.
Right. came out strong, and offensively, talk about Kyle, how he spread the ball around to all you guys. If you're open, it makes you want to run your route, I would imagine, if you know you could still be in the mix. Huh?
Well, you try to run your route anyway, you know what I mean? But it feels great to be able to have a running game that ran the way Forte and Kevin Jones ran today. The O-line blocked tremendously. You know, I think, I know we were downfield blocking as well. So, you know, and also on offense, Cal threw the ball to the open guy. We caught it, and we won the game.
No doubt. What about the play of the offensive line? They were scrutinized, talking about mixing and matching, but they came out and they balled tonight.
Man, we all have been scrutinized. The whole offense, we're no good. You know, the defense got some of it because of some of the preseason performances, but that was preseason. But we got, you know, everybody got it. The offense, the receivers, oh, they're not very good. The quarterback's not very good. The running backs are, well, they're all right. The tight ends, they're decent. You know, O-line is horrible. We've gotten it all, so it doesn't really matter what anybody says. It only matters what we believe in that locker room and what we do out on the field.
Okay. For his first game, how impressed were you with Matt Forte?
I was very impressed. I don't know how many yards he had, but I know he was over 100.
Yeah,
so.
about 120. He had 100 in the first half.
Oh, yeah, you know, that was a nice run he had, you know, and he took it all away, you know, it didn't get caught. So that was the best part about it.
And when you're running the ball that effectively, it makes it better for you guys as well, right?
Yeah, definitely makes it better for the pass, of course. When you're passing the ball, it makes it better for the run, so it works both ways.
All right, Rashid, appreciate it, man. Good win.
Thank you.
All right, appreciate it. Let's go back to you guys in the studio.
All right, fellas, thank you very much. Apparently, you can't wear white after Labor Day.
What day is it?
I don't know. I don't
after
know.
Labor Day?
We'll get into that a little bit later on Jerry's GQ at the end of Bears Post-Game Live. But what you heard from Rashid there was a little frustration that this team has been hearing a lot about, and a lot of it is deserved. You come off a 7-9 season where there wasn't a lot of positives to take from it, and you step into 2008, and there hasn't been much talk, certainly locally or nationally, that this team even has a chance. So you can understand some of the frustrations they have and the fact that they want to, you know, maybe celebrate a little bit and let the world know that don't bury this team just yet.
Sure, but I'm sure one of the things that Lovey told them when they went into the locker room is, you know, keep it on an even keel, fellas, because, you know, you go up sometimes, you go down sometimes, and remember that. Because, when you looked at what they presented at the beginning, going through the preseason, it wasn't too exciting. And I know, you know, you guys like to talk about, well, they're playing the vanilla defense and everything, but let me tell you something, nothing vanilla about tackling. And this preseason was brutal in terms of tackling for the defense. Tonight, they brought it. There's only one guy that had a little bit of an issue with tackling, and we'll talk about him a little bit later on.
We'll talk a little bit about Peanut Tillman, the strip. Dan from Chicago says, you know, haven't we seen now from Peanut Tillman one of the best strippers of the football in the National of the football.
Anyway, Pat, we'll talk to you
later. Whoa, what time is it? It's 11. Yeah, in the club. Start the music. Coming to stage number 3. But seriously, Peanut does a nice job ripping the football away, and he did it from Harrison tonight. Led to the Lance Briggs touchdown.
That's what we expect from Chicago Bears. That's what we expect from that defense. That's what Lovie Smith preaches. That's what Bob Babbage preaches at the end of the day, and it's getting swipes and scoring points. They threw up the statistic on the TV tonight. Of course, John Madden stated the obvious, as usual, but, you know, it's a pretty telling statement of how the Bears really swipe at the ball and they convert it into points consistently.
Swiping better than stripper. That's a good. Okay, I'll make that note right here. We're going to talk to Wally coming up.
All right, thanks, guys. Here with Wale, and Wale, talk about what you guys were able to do. I know I talked to a couple players, and they said in the preseason, don't worry. Once the real season starts, you'll see in the first quarter what happened. And you and your buddy right here, Lance, show what you could do, huh?
This is the dude. Yeah, we've been saying that, man. You know, we've been telling everybody just relax. You know, we got some really good players, you know, I mean, all pros. Guys are going to show up on Sunday when it really counts. You know, we just used the preseason to fine-tune some things. We weren't really playing, you know, our defense. We were playing really vanilla, and I've been saying that. And today we showed what we can do.
Was that frustrating going through the preseason, although it was the preseason, when people say this, that, and the other, and you guys knew that the caliber of this defense, if healthy, was still the same one?
It's a little frustrating, you know, I mean, for me, you know, because it kind of shows that, you know, people are kind of fair weather, and they really don't know the product that we have. And it seemed like everybody was making too much for the preseason. It doesn't count. I mean, no matter how many tackles I missed in the preseason or sacks I had or how many sacks or tackles he had or missed, it didn't matter. today is what really counted, and we showed up.
It's good to kind of re-solidify, how we feel about ourselves, though. In situations like that, we regroup through ourselves and say, we are the ones that count. When we get on that field, it's what we believe that's going to matter the most. So, going into this game, now that things count, we only had one win, and we got another week, so we got to look forward to, enjoy this win tonight. Wake up tomorrow or Wednesday when we come in with Carolina on our mind.
Okay, now both of you guys were able to make big plays. You pick up, Peanut comes up with the strip, you pick it up. What was going on through your mind sequence, and you were just reacting?
Pure reaction. Peanut made a great play. Ball bounced into my hand. We set up the wall, got in the end zone.
And Lovey always says you guys pride yourself on defense, putting points on the board, getting back to that style.
Absolutely. One of the things I think, our mentality is we can't worry about what's going on the other side of the ball. We have to do our part, and worry about ourselves. As long as we're playing good defense, we give ourselves a chance to win.
Yeah, definitely. Like Lance said, the key with this defense, and it's worked in the past, is offense is control the ball, no turnovers, and we're going to do our best to try to put some points on the board and put them in the best position to win. And today, that's Bears football. That's what we did.
And talk about the safety, big safety, coming up and put pressure on Peyton all night. Talk about the safety first, and then we'll talk about just the pressure on this guy.
The safety was big for us. Honestly, what happened was, Coach Babbage really called a good game for us today. Peyton was confused out there. Offense didn't know what we were going to do and where we're coming from. And on that play, I just kind of sensed that it was going to be a run. And I shot the gap, and, it all turned out well.
Okay. And this is one thing I noticed, too. It seems like the clock ran down a whole lot on Peyton, uncharacteristic when he's on the field. But they say you guys were jumping in and out of situations. What brought that about?
Just, as coaches. Coaches was a scheme. Yep. I think, Peyton had some time on his hands, and maybe he over-prepared for the wrong team. And that's what I think what happened, because he was watching what we've been doing in the past, and we really changed it up this week.
Absolutely. The game plan. We believed in the game plan. It was a good game plan. We stuck to it, and it worked.
No doubt about it. Now, before we get out of here, Jerry Azuma back in the studio. Just talk about the attire. Both of you guys sharp, and when you win, it's easier to talk about it. Just tell us about the compliment, the clothes you guys will have on.
I'm just trying to be like this guy. He's always dapper. He's clean cut. Got the vest with the off color. Good guy.
Thank you very much. If you look around the flyers, or if you look around, on TV, you will be able to see Wale. I'm not fortunate enough to have the presence that Wale has. So this is it right here. It's all about the demeanor.
I'm sure Jerry will appreciate the European cut, because he wears his suits a little too tight.
All right, guys, appreciate it. Thanks, appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, Lance
Richard
Wale.
Bennett, pal.
There you go. All right, let's go back to you guys in the studio.
All right, thank you very much, William Jackson, Wale, and Lance.
Wow.
We get to the GQ at the end, but
Jerry is wearing Gucci tonight, isn't he?
I am.
Yeah, I believe your tailor hit me up on an email over here a little while ago.
I think he forgot that. I have a microphone in front of my face.
You're the final word,
you better
right?
watch out, Wale.
It looked like Wale was dressing for the Michael Strahan collection. Looking very clean tonight. You wanted to mention somebody who missed a tackle. Wasn't exactly clean out there.
And you look back on the whole defensive effort, and there are a couple of things that still bother you. Kevin Payne, I thought, again, there's a tackling issue there, and maybe he'll get all of that squared away. He'll go back, look at the tape, figure out what he needs to do. And the other one was they really kind of went after Nathan Vasher tonight, and I'm kind of glad to see that Nathan was able to come back around and play the game the way that we're used to seeing him play. Because again, it's a little bit of a question mark about which one of those corners you want to go after. It's going to be Nate coming off an injury.
Yeah,
rather than going after
he had a missed tackle. A man got
his start and game to open the season since Walter Payton, and you did it in a big way, 100 yards in the first half alone. Just in your dreams, could you conjure up something as nice as this one tonight?
No, I couldn't. I mean, it was a great day, and came out and had a great game. I got to thank God for having me, blessed me, had the opportunity to come out here and do that. And he did, and I made the most of it.
Oh, no doubt about it. What was your feeling like before the game started? What were the emotions like? Because you seemed to come out and just play like a veteran.
Yeah, we was very confident, coming into the game, and we expected to win. We got to come in every game expecting that, and we just had a lot of emotion come out there, and we were hyped up and everything. First game and all that, so we came out and played hard the whole game.
What would you say about your offensive line and the way they blocked for you on this particular night?
Oh, they were great. I mean, they opened up holes left and right, all night, and I got to thank those guys because without them, the running game, can't go anywhere. So. All those guys up front did a great job.
Okay. Walk us through the 50-yard run, because one guy, faked him out of his shoes, kind of left him there. Just walk us through from the time you got the ball and what you saw.
Well, it was a quick little, hit and run, and I got the ball, and I saw Garza coming, and he washed the guy down, so I cut off of him, and then I saw the safety, and I was one-on-one with the safety, and, to make big plays, you got to make the safety miss, and I did so, and, just outran him to the end zone. It was a great run.
And I heard the announcers on television saying anyone who questioned the speed, 4.4, whatever the case may be, you never get caught from behind. I heard some of your teammates say that.
Yeah, people always question things and stuff like that, looking in from the outside. But, I always knew I had good speed and I can outrun people. So, I definitely showed them tonight.
All right. With the performance you had tonight, what does it do for this offense with Kevin Jones to spell you and just the running game? Lovie says he wants to get it off the bus running the ball now. He can truly do that.
Yeah, we just want to come in and, we definitely have a lot of confidence now and, going to these next games and do the same thing and just keep it rolling the whole season.
Okay. Matt Forte, congratulations. Great night. First time in the Bears uniform in the regular season game. Came up big.
Yes, sir.
All right. Back to you guys in the studio.
All right, Matt Forte with a historic night for the Bears. His 50-yard touchdown run breaks the Bears' rookie debut record. 123 rushing yards. That is also a record in this one, as he was the first rookie to start in the backfield for the Bears. Walter Payton did it back in 1975. Again, how
Chicago Bears interior defensive line, and they said all starts up front. Smile on your face. Talk about what it felt like to get out there against the Colts and pull off what you guys were able to do tonight.
Man, it was great. Just I think from first snap, we just attacking the line of scrimmage. That's what we talked about all week. We had a great week of practice, preparation. Talked about attacking the line of scrimmage, setting a new line of scrimmage 2 yards in the backfield. Mm-hmm. We said if we did that, we'd stop the run, and we'd get after Peyton, and we make some mistakes. And I think we did a pretty good job tonight.
And I know for many people watching at home, it was uncharacteristic of a Peyton to look like he did. He looked flustered sometimes. The clock was running down. What did you guys do, in your opinion, to kind of put a different kind of mental pressure on him?
I think Coach Babbage had a great game plan. We got after Peyton. We blitzed him a lot, had a lot of different looks, had a great game plan going in. And, they took all the games, the Super Bowl game in 2004, looked at what they've done in the preseason, and they had a great game plan, and we executed well, and, we gave them some problems.
What did it feel like for you? You played a great game in San Diego last year, then you're out, but to come back this year and to come back in such a strong way and to walk out here with a victory tonight, just on a personal level, all the hard work you put in.
It feels great, always nice to win and just kind of the road that I've gone down. The greatest part is I'm healthy and I get to play again next week. So that's the best part. So just really excited, great team win. Defense played great. Up front, defensive line, we played really well. So really proud of the guys. Big thing is we got to do it again next week. We can't live on this too long. We can enjoy it for 2 days, but Wednesday we got to come back to work, have a great week of practice, and go to Carolina and do the same thing.
Do it one more time and repeat it. Now, Lovie says defensively, you guys should put points on the board. You're able to do that tonight, strip the ball. All the things that you guys have done in the past was evident in this game.
I just think it's through OTAs, through training camp. We just harp on it. Coach Babbage and all the coaches just harping on it. It gets so repetitive. You do it so much in practice, it's second nature. And when you go out there in the game, it just happens. And so it's not really a surprise to us, because we do it every day in practice. We punch balls out, we pick it up, we go score, we set up the wall, pick passes off, set up the wall, go score. So, I guess you practice you play how you practice. And, that's how every week, that's what we do. And we came out here and executed.
Okay, when this team is healthy, it's unbelievable, huh?
It just everybody back.
And this your buddy coming in, huh?
Yeah, Tommy here, and I want everyone to know I look better than Tommy tonight.
Oh, let's talk about the clothes, because Jerry's back in the studio, and both of you saw. But what's going on?
I think that I got Tommy beat tonight. Tommy's usually best dressed, but right. I think I got it this week.
Wait, what you think? You smiling, huh?
What up, Jerry?
The only interview, that's Tommy, right? What do you think about tonight's performance, man? You guys were able to pull off one that a lot of people said, can they come in here and do it? And you said preseason is one thing. This was the real thing. Defense showed up. Just talk about that.
Yeah, well, we showed up when it counts, and hopefully we can continue to do that the rest of the season. Everybody, we looked all right. I think we could get better. I know, especially myself, I was kind of winded out there a little bit. But, yeah, I think we could get a lot better. And as long as everybody stay healthy, I think we could do this every week.
And talk about this. You guys' relationship goes way back. College teammates, been knowing each other, hanging out. What does it feel like to play next to one another and to get back to that? Both of you, yeah.
Salt and pepper, baby. I think it feels great. I just think that one thing Tommy and I did from college and we do now, we set a new line of scrimmage. We get off the ball so quick and get up the field. We cause a lot of havoc, which if we're not making a play, somebody else is making a play.
We disrupt the blocking scheme. If we're not making the play, we disrupt blocking scheme.
And then the other guys get to make plays, and that's kind of, I mean, when you got dominant defensive tackles, it's kind of, it just all works.
Okay.
Marcus Harrison looks good too.
Yeah, he did.
He played a game, yeah.
Everybody played good.
Wale, Alex, we rotated.
We rotated
Mark
all night.
Anderson.
You keep fresh legs out there, and good things happen.
Brick Haley did a great job tonight. And I think play calling also was ingenious by Bob Babbage, what he did, what he put the game plan together this week, and continue to keep doing the same thing. I feel like that we are his Madden, his game. He get a chance to put us in different places where he wants to go. And today we did a great job against the Colts.
No doubt about it. You guys look good and want to keep it going. Any last words for Zoom back there and everybody?
It goes in the history books that the Bears were the first to win at the Colts' new stadium.
That's true.
I look better than Tommy.
Zoom, I bought his suit.
On that note, go back to you guys in the studio.
All right.